Do we have enough mics?
I'm listening to you.
Huh?
Everybody have a mic?
I think
so.
pretty close, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You can move these forward to you too if you have to.
Mhm.
Can't hear
Okay.
you. Okay.
Well, it just makes it easier for the gal who
All
does
set?
the minutes. Yeah, I think we are. Thanks, Diane.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll call the budget workshop to order. Um, I will, let's call the roll just so we know who is here. If we, Bob, if you just start.
Bob Gephardt?
Jan Beers?
Ron DePonte?
Phil Measy,
Nancy Hall.
Tom Gregor by phone.
Nancy Olson?
okay? Thank you all.
Not that we have to vote, but do you want to?
Nancy, you abandoned me, you ran to the other side of
Yeah.
the room.
I guess there's no computer over there for me to look at. Wasn't up.
Jan Beers?
Okay.
Ron DePonte?
In any event, yeah, I don't know that we're gonna vote on anything, but maybe we ought to, just in case we do, someone wanna move to?
Yeah, I move to let John vote.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Okay, John,
Thank you.
you're an official member of the meeting. So Nancy, I think you're the one who has to kind of take us through this, and it seems to me we ought to go line by line.
Okay.
As a general principle, or maybe back off from that a little bit. Do you know exactly what the schedule is that Stephen has put forth?
He has not sent it to me this
He
year.
hasn't?
Has not, no.
Okay.
And last year, he sent it out well before this.
Yeah.
So,
Uh-huh. Yeah. It seems to me, as a general principle, we want to be fairly generous in this preliminary one, because we can't we can't go up.
We can't increase, we can
Can't
decrease.
increase and back down, so we want to make sure that we're reasonably,
Yeah.
liberal or conservative, whatever you
Okay.
want to call it with this one.
Chris gave us something last time. There was a schedule of some sort.
yeah, and it was not, it wasn't like what we got from Stephen the year before, where he gave us very specific dates for everything he wanted done.
Yeah.
I'll send him an email
Yeah.
tonight and ask him
Yeah.
what his timeline is.
Mhm. Okay.
My notes indicate that we're about a month late to last year.
Really? Wow.
I don't remember that. I was new
My
last
note, when I
year.
looked at last year's
Yeah.
proposal,
Mhm.
I took the ponds.
Yeah.
I don't think I was that much further ahead.
Yeah.
But I did it in May, not in June.
And are you ready,
Yes.
after we review this, you're
Yeah.
ready to talk about ponds? Okay.
Yeah, we had a meeting this morning.
Good. Well, Nancy, what did you?
So I have one question.
Sure,
The
John.
email that Diane sent with the preliminary budget, is that what everybody's working on?
That's what we're all looking at.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I have it up on the computer.
Good, yep. So we all have it up on the computer here, so that's what we're gonna work with. So Nancy, why don't you start through?
Okay, I did meet with Sarah and Jason last week to go over items that I needed information for them from, and they did confirm that FPL is
Nancy, speak into the mic.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little better.
Okay. I met with Sarah and Jason last week to go over some of the budget items with them, and Sarah said that FPL was asking for approximately a 4% increase this year. So the first item is the entry feature utilities, and I just took our actual through the first 8 months, multiplied that out, and gave us a 4% increase for that item. So that actually goes down just slightly from last year.
Nancy, on that, and I have this question on quite a number of these. Are there no entry feature utilities in Cypress Grove?
No, there wouldn't. Entry features,
It's
no.
just- Okay, so this just covers the main gate?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Nance, could you just explain quickly, if last year's budget was 19,000, how could a 4% increase mean we're putting less money?
Because I took the first 8 months of this year, the actual expense for this year, projected that out over 12 months, and then a 4%
So that's
increase.
based on the actuals, not the
Right,
budget.
right.
If I'm not mistaken, with all of the FPL stuff, didn't we do a 10% last year?
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
backing down off 10%.
Yeah. Last year, they had asked for a 10.95% increase. So we're pretty close. I mean, compared to what budget was, we're fairly close, you know. Annuals, I talked to Sarah and Jason about that. That's under contract, and they expect that to stay the same.
Now, is there not, and these annuals,
close,
the annuals for Cypress Grove are covered below in the residence, is that
Right,
it? Okay.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These top lines are only the shared expenses.
Shared expenses,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Landscape contract, we had just negotiated that a year ago, and she said that would be remaining the same, so
Mhm.
these are the easy ones.
Yeah.
Tree tree trimming, I mean, we have a contract with them, and Sarah expects it to stay the same, but I guess my concern really isn't up front. Tree trimming for the front, the shared ones, those trees have been mature for a while, so that expense should probably stay about the same, and that's what Sarah said too. Same with the pine straw, under contract, she didn't expect any changes there. And they are going back to make sure and verify that these are going to stay the same. Irrigation repairs and maintenance, this one I had a little trouble with, and I'm still waiting to hear back from them. Our current expenses don't even equal what they're saying is the contractual
Yeah.
portion.
It looks so far
Yeah.
out that there's
And-
something very strange about it.
Yeah, so I actually asked them about it, got a response that they didn't really understand what I wanted. So I've sent it back to them again, asking them to look back at that and see, maybe we're not under contract anymore, maybe they're just doing, whatever the actual
Yeah.
expenses are.
The problem is that experience with irrigation repairs and maintenance can be very, very volatile. And it's
Yeah.
something we want to be sure that we're covering.
Yeah, and this one is just based on actual expenses so far, so,
Mhm.
obviously we'll probably be making some change to that one, because that is awfully low, irrigation
Oh,
repairs,
yeah.
no.
Doesn't sound-
So, the entry feature repairs and maintenance, the next line item, same thing there, there's a contract plus some additional, and, wasn't that rain? And I subtracted out the portion of the contract we paid so far, took what was left, projected that out over the year, and I did a 4% increase there too. Pretty much any expense I've assumed will go up a little bit for inflation, so I've added a 4% to just about all of them. I should, so I can keep track better where I'm at. Plant replacements, once again, she didn't expect any change in there. We really haven't had hardly any expenses yet, because they won't start planting till now that it's in rainy season for most things. So we don't really have any hard numbers to work with on that one. And the same with the tree and sod replacement, we're just going with what last year's expenses were right now. Street lighting maintenance, we had no repairs so far this year on street lighting maintenance. So I went ahead and lowered it by 3,000, it was 6,500, so I thought I could at least take that a little bit lower. And I don't know, I know we replaced the lights with LED lights.
Yeah.
I was new then, I'm not sure what lights we replaced, if these are the ones out front.
Yeah, now Sarah has recommended or suggested that we may want to replace some others. And
Some
I'm wondering
others.
whether we shouldn't build
Yeah.
that in. I don't know whether that's in the shared or whether it's in the.
Well, that's what, I'm not sure which ones we replaced. Do you know if they were in the shared expenses, the ones that we already replaced?
I must admit, I'm not certain.
Because what she did tell me is that a lot of the repairs and maintenance is bringing the big trucks in. And now that we have LED lights, they don't require as much maintenance and repairs, so, street lighting maintenance has gone down. So that's why I'm thinking some of them must be up here, but I'll double check with her and see if that's why that's gone down.
Yeah.
Didn't the way that it broke down work that they did the big lights first? And wouldn't that be the ones out on tree line in the shared?
In fact, wasn't there some complaint from somebody in Aviano who didn't like them because they were
Were shining into their-
shining in?
Too bright, yeah. That's true.
Yeah,
And those were done before I was here, and then the second one, the smaller ones, were done after I
Yeah.
was here.
we need to determine what's been done and what hasn't, and whether we have room to do those same replacements. Whether we will have room in the budget to do the LED replacements and what's left. Because it seems to me in the long term, they pay off pretty quickly, as I
They did.
recall.
I thought we had excess money last year when we're all done the budget process and
Yeah.
we just allocated it, told her to do it.
I
thought
think
they were
that's
done.
what we did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what my recollection is, that we had the money, so we just said, go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly, I thought it covered part of Pelican Reserve Boulevard also, but
Well, those were the second ones.
Yeah.
The first ones were done prior
Tree
to
line.
me being here, so those were probably tree line.
but I think it's done.
Well,
Not
except
entirely,
that-
I don't
That email that Sarah sent, it didn't sound like it was
There,
done.
there's some more she says we
Oh, I
can do
haven't,
yet.
okay, I haven't seen
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Maybe we did everything she wanted to do
Yeah.
last year. And that'll be
Do we know also what the situation is on the Cypress Grove lights? Are they LEDs?
Oh, we'll talk about Cypress Grove when we get to the bottom. That's gonna be interesting. I don't think they are yet.
I don't think they are either.
I don't think
No.
so, although,
Since they're more expensive initially, I can't imagine
Probably,
they put
that,
them in.
I agree.
no,
I agree.
because we would.
They have a different light to them than the other ones.
Do
They
they?
have the LEDs, you can tell the difference.
Okay, so, I'll leave the streetlight maintenance a little lower for this year. I don't know that we can take much more than that away. And the utility cart maintenance and fuel, that's a contract, and we only have $500 above the contract to cover maintenance on it. And we seem to stay pretty much right within that budget. So that's the easy part, the shared part. There's not much change there.
The pressure cleaning is,
Well, the pressure cleaning, Jason's sending me some information on that, because last year Sarah wanted that broken out into a separate line item,
right.
and then they never set up an account for it. So Jason sent me an email the other day saying that the pressure cleaning for that portion was only $480 last year, so I just upped it by 4%. And I took it out of, trying to remember where that one was at. That pressure cleaning was in, like, maybe repairs and
I
maintenance or
think it was
something.
under a generalized category.
Yeah, it was,
right.
it was where they always put it. Before, they wanted it separated out. So now they have an account number for it.
So does that 540 need to go in the total, or, in other words, it's not?
Oh, that didn't
It
carry
didn't-
over.
it
I
didn't-
just said that, I probably didn't
It
copy
didn't
the-
move over, so
yeah, it
that
didn't
needs,
move over.
that needs to be.
Yeah,
okay.
so that's gonna have to be, yeah, when I added the line, I probably forgot to copy that formula over, because he just sent me that, Friday afternoon. So, and there might be the one on the bottom, it's probably gonna be the same way. Come on, where's my little cursor? It's disappeared. Come on.
There you
There.
go.
I see it.
I see
Ah,
it. There. Okay, let's move up a little bit. Okay, so now in the residence expenses, the-
Nancy, before you go there, what areas does the residents' O&M expenses cover?
well, the shared is the things that are out pretty much on tree line, from what I understand, that we're sharing with the
Okay, so this
commercial.
is
They're
everything
shared
inside the gate.
Right, these are,
Perfect.
the shared, Jan, are the ones that are shared with the commercial,
Commercial.
Okay,
and the other one is purely residential.
purely
So like they'd
Pelican.
be the entry fountains way down at Colonial.
Okay.
Some of that.
What's the approximate ratio of this? Who pays how much?
It's
87,
85, huh?
87.
13.
Yeah,
And we paid the 85.
87.
You got it.
Hello.
Surprise,
Of course.
surprise.
Shared expenses are strictly tree line expenses, correct?
much.
Tree line and the entry gate, I think, John, no?
The entry gate.
No, I think that's all
Before
under
the
ours.
entry
That's
gate.
all, before the entry, so it's just purely tree line
Yeah, and tree line and colonial.
and colonial.
Okay.
In Colonial, and
Right.
it's tree line from Pelican Reserve Boulevard to Colonial.
Tree line and the entry
It's not,
Right.
or is it from the white wall?
Oh, I see what he's saying. I think it's
I
from
think it's just
the
from the-
firehouse, so that's about right.
It's what we stated as the white wall.
Yeah. Doesn't include,
I think you're right, from the firehouse out.
Okay. This is everything inside Pelican.
Yeah.
Okay.
so as a summary, we're about 9,000 below last year's budget? Am I reading that correctly? Okay,
Yeah, just about 9,000.
below, okay.
Guess we can't move that to the residents.
But,
No,
yeah.
and those numbers are probably gonna change a little bit.
I was gonna say, I
They're
think
gonna
we
change.
wanna circle back and
We
decide,
may.
because we wanna,
We may
I don't think we
boost a
wanna
few
come
of
up
these
in any
numbers.
lower than last year. And in
Sure,
fact,
absolutely,
we
maybe
wanna
a
be
tad.
even higher than last year,
tad.
so, but let's.
Well, that
maybe-
might be taken care of when we get
Yeah,
down into
well,
this part
okay.
anyway, so. All right, landscape contract, New contract last year, so that remains the same. We're still not paying Cypress Grove yet, so, you know, that's what's giving us some play in this year's budget.
Yes, right.
Didn't they approve the transfer of Solero?
Solero.
So aren't we,
So
is that,
we-
oh, Solero was paying for the landscaping inside there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Their homeowner
Yes.
association,
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah,
involved.
you know, there's some, probably, there may be some small thing in Solero that we have to take care of, but it's
At
probably,
the front.
it's probably
The monument,
pretty
the
minimal.
cul-de-sac,
area.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
just the monument,
That's,
the
that's the
cul-de-sac,
reason I
basically.
didn't put up too much of a
Okay.
stink about that thing, even though we recommended that they don't do it.
Yeah. Mulch and pine straw is under contract, so we've got,
Oh, I'm sorry, Nancy, just to go back, the 66,830 is what was quoted
For
by
Cypress Grove.
Ameriscape for Cypress
for
Grove.
Cypress Grove, yes.
Now, that's Cypress Grove up till where? Do you know that?
That I don't know, because, you know, when we first got this quote, a lot of Prado wasn't there yet. So,
That's right, that's why I was wondering if it's up to that traffic circle by Prado and
And
Stoya,
Casella?
way up there?
or is it,
further back?
Can we get Jason or Sarah
on the phone?
on the phone?
Yeah, we- awful lot of questions here.
Yeah,
That, Nancy, I think you've either gotta be recording and chasing down, or if we could get them on, you know,
Can we use a cell phone?
well, we could conference them in if we could find them.
Oh, we'd have to cut off because she didn't
We'd
use
have
the
to,
conference.
right, I know, we'd have to bring John back in, conference call.
What's,
Let's see if they're even there.
Yeah.
yeah,
um,
It'd be nice to have the answers.
Hmm?
It'd be nice to have some answers here.
Answers here, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I suspect it's to the, what was that, Corona,
Mm-hmm,
where Corona comes out.
or Corona comes
you
out.
have a
That
number
probably,
for-
as far as it goes, because the rest of it wasn't there yet.
Some of the
I
stuff
have
on the
their
left
number.
was.
I never talked to them.
Maybe Diane would have it, maybe we ought to ask
Remember
her.
they used to
That's
have
an
the,
older community.
Well,
well,
let me look
used
at
to
one
have
of their
the,
emails, because it
construction
might have the
entrance
number
there.
on their email.
And then, that's no longer there.
Right.
So I don't
That was
think
a
it
long
would-
time,
it
that was
would-
before me then.
It would have gone down that road, I suspect, their number.
I've got Castle,
And
I've
I'm
got
thinking
this
it's-
from Sarah.
Huh?
I have an email for Sarah.
I was watching the water on my pool.
All right, let me try this.
Oh, yeah,
You
it's
got
starting to
a number?
overflow now.
Oh.
Yeah,
Draining.
I've got an
Mine is
overflow
draining.
thing,
No,
and
not
and it
draining.
does,
I've got
but
Mary
I was
Beth's
thinking,
number.
God, if we ever got a
Okay,
hurricane,
try this number,
overflow thing,
985
ain't gonna take all the water out fast enough.
1634.
So I've got
Yeah,
an
that's-
attachment on my unit, I can hook up a hose and manually drain it, which I
That's
would
for
do if we were
Jason.
getting a hurricane.
985.
1634.
Staring at you.
What,
Where do you think you're putting that water?
golf course?
84.
Good answer.
Really?
I'll get
Oh,
this.
That's, your back is to the golf course, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a French
Great
drain,
answer.
I had a French drain put in, so my water goes right in, back into the pond, I think.
Oh, that's what I think. Okay.
No?
Can't put pool water in.
Air? Well, then maybe it goes to the drain.
Good answer.
Ameriscape's put it in for me.
That goes to the pond.
What?
Just
No, I'm gullible. I gotta start putting on a better poker face than that. Yeah, this is real.
A little chlorine in the ponds won't hurt.
That's, I have salt water.
Yours is salt water?
Mm-hmm.
Your pool's salt water?
A lot of them are.
Well, I'm not kidding about that. Salt water shouldn't be going.
I mean, it's not that much salt. It's not like you're in the.
You still have
Gulf.
chlorine in the pool too, but it's so much better for your skin.
What about my fish? What about your skin?
I don't eat fish that come from ponds. Let the alligators have them.
Just getting a recording.
This is the Pelican
That's when
Preserve
we have a
Advisory
hurricane, that's
Committee,
the
and we're
least of
trying
our
to
worries
reach
about
either Jason or Sarah.
water from
We're
North
having a
Pool going
meeting
into
now,
one
and we have
pond.
budget
Well,
questions.
There's a lot of other
You
stuff
can
going on.
have
I
one
had
or
to
them
before they
call,
fixed it, and actually the pool company
the
I use,
CDD
don't
office.
ever use them, refused to
greatly
fix it. They said it
appreciate
works
it.
fine.
Thank
It's like,
you.
I just sent them pictures, says,
She said, we'll get back to you in the next 24
Can
hours.
we-
Let me try
let's go, in lieu of that, let's go back up and go to the questions that they need to answer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can we go back up so we remember what they are? We know on the landscape contract, we wanna know how far that goes, right?
On the Cypress Grove portion.
On the Cypress Grove
Yeah.
portion.
Yeah, I'm making a list of questions
Okay,
here.
were there any others that I think we had a few up top, didn't we?
We have one that I've already sent to Jason about
Okay.
that one maintenance
Okay.
agreement,
All right.
where it says there's a contract. This just keeps.
How about, yeah,
losing.
the street lighting maintenance?
Yeah, no, not the street lighting maintenance,
Yeah, the whole-
irrigation maintenance.
Well, the irrigation, but
But
the
there was
LED lights.
the
How
LED
far did
The
that go?
LED lights.
Yeah, we wanna know which lights are LED.
Yeah, which
And which
ones
ones
are
need to be
LED,
LED.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how far that goes. Um,
And which one she's suggesting we might wanna replace now.
Right.
Yeah, we wanna know which lights are LED.
And cost.
Yep.
Well, I know, sometimes the obvious isn't always.
So I'm thinking Cypress Grove would maybe go to that second roundabout where Prado and Pistoia and that is,
Yeah.
because that other part's been there for quite a while.
Right.
But I don't think it would go
Well,
beyond
that's
there.
the question. I'm not sure whether this number covers it that far.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I suspect it doesn't,
you
but
think it
it
goes
might.
just to the first
Yeah,
turnaround?
I
yeah,
suspect.
it may,
Rick
You would go to
Koronicki does.
yeah, I think you may be right, Ron.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't consume, like, over the bridge to Casella, that bridge area. I don't know whether that's Casella's responsibility or ours,
I don't know.
going into Casella.
And Nancy, do you know on the pressure cleaning, does that include the wall? Or is that,
Not, that
They
top
were
one
doing
can't.
huh?
They were doing.
They
it
were just
all
doing it
last
very
week.
recently, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that's what brought it to mind.
Correct.
For me.
And that would, well, I don't know whether it would be on
Well-
that side or this side, this pressure cleaning down here.
There's pressure cleaning down there.
Yeah,
Well, that could be
I don't
town
think that's
center
a shared
stuff.
expense on that side.
Yeah, can we find out whether
Yeah.
whether that covers the wall? They were just doing
it very
recently, yes, yes.
Because that would be some actual expenses
Yes.
this year.
Yep.
I mean, not build it yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I had a text thing for Sarah, so I just texted her to see if, we'll see if that works.
Okay, all right. All right, well, let's keep,
Okay.
chipping away, and if
Okay.
necessary, Nancy, you'll just have to come back to
Yeah,
us with it.
and hopefully maybe she can get some of it to me by Thursday's meeting
Yes,
too.
yes, that
Yeah.
would be good.
Okay, mulch and pine straw, that's a contract. The original contract was for 27.5, and Sarah said that for Cypress Grove, there's 2 areas, 2 applications each, which doesn't, I don't know why there'd be 2 applications. Oh, Cypress Grove 1 and 2.
Right.
And they were 4,400 each, and 4 applications in total, she said, so 17.6 for that.
I think the same question would have to be addressed there as to what section.
What's included, yeah. Yeah. Ant control, we haven't had any done yet, but she said that'll be the same as last year. They do that in the summertime.
Okay, well, will we need to do that in Cypress Grove if the question keeps coming up?
Yeah, well, that's the whole question of every single item down
Yes.
here is what's going to happen with Cypress Grove now? Because
Well,
we haven't budgeted.
I think we certainly need to make the assumption that Cypress Grove will be conveyed
Sometime this year.
probably between now and
Yeah, it
and the
might be
beginning of
every-
the next
right there.
fiscal year.
Right.
Yeah.
That will already be, we're making out because we're not covering a lot of Cypress Grove
Right.
expenses at this point. But I think we have to assume that, by next year, there will be a significant amount of that, those assets will be conveyed to us.
Yeah, within the next 90 days. That's the end of
Including,
this fiscal year.
Yes.
90 days.
Yes.
and are we
A lot of
including
that.
the,
I think it's appropriate that we plan for that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
and are they including the brand-new area too? Do they really plan on,
They're gonna take everything up to the flowway. So the
Where?
only things that won't be included are Prado and
Pistoia.
this is whatever that's called,
Pistoia.
Pistola.
You have trouble with that.
I do.
No, he keeps throwing an L in there. yeah.
I'm putting something in it, but I know it's wrong. I finally got the D out of Prado. It's T. But everything but that. I mean, they haven't even broken
Right.
ground in whatever,
Right.
pistol.
Pistachio.
I'm sorry? Pistachio,
Joy,
yeah.
yeah.
But the rest, I think we're going to get this year. Now,
It's by the end of the year, so.
yeah, now Casella won't be completed by any stretch.
Right. So that,
But half of it, but everything else should be completed.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Matarita's basically done.
Yeah,
They've got a couple
Matarita's,
houses to finish it.
There's
And it's
a couple stragglers here and there, but they're
Yeah.
done. The rest,
Yeah,
Corinna's done.
yes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so all those things they're planning on transferring,
We gotta assume we're gonna have
Have
that
'em,
for the
right.
next fiscal year.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
I don't think there's any question.
So, something like ant control, the question I think we need to ask is, do we need to add in something more to cover that?
I think every expense,
Yeah,
well, not every, because we
Well,
got
not every.
gates and supplies and things
Right,
like that,
right.
but almost every expense is going to have a Cypress Grove component.
right.
So, tree trimming, I used the actual for, Old Pelican Preserve, but, it's just a wild guess. With Cypress Grove, we have less mature landscaping.
Mhm.
I don't know if that translates to more tree trimming as they're growing.
Probably not, probably not. You're probably talking about the big trees where they go in and they thin it, or the palm trees where they do a hurricane cut kind of look.
Which they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
What's a
Right,
hurricane
right.
cut?
They scalp the palm trees.
Probably not.
Tucks down wind resistance.
It
so
really
they won't fall
doesn't.
over.
They won't fall over.
It really doesn't.
There's some
I know.
debate whether that's accurate or not.
Yeah.
It's pretty much been debunked that it doesn't really do anything. Palm trees are built to take the wind.
And so, the, the note says, not sure how to estimate Cypress Grove, so you
Nope.
just made an estimate, is that it? You just-
Come on, slide over. Slide that way.
Well, was that it from last year, this year's budget, the 4,900 and the 72?
Yeah,
That's from this year's budget.
Was it?
I think it was. Let me look at this year's budget. This is when I need my glasses that I don't have. Okay, tree trimming. Come on, slide over. Tree trimming, yeah. That was last year's budget.
That was last year's
Okay,
budget.
all right.
But I.
But
you
I don't know
if
how to estimate it for this year because we have no actual to go by.
the-
Well, you wouldn't have any for this
No,
year,
and-
not yet.
And the size of Cypress Grove that we're gonna get versus the size of old,
Pelican.
Old Pelican, having them in at, 10% of Old Pelican wouldn't seem to be enough,
Correct.
right? I mean, it just,
Just from the pond's perspective, it's a
Yes.
40% increase.
40%.
Bingo.
Wow.
That's the additional ponds that we are taking from last budget year to the next budget year. We went from 40 ponds to 55 ponds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
one decimal off of
Yeah,
that,
right.
38,
Yeah.
5 or something.
Well, we'd have all the trees along Cypress Groves and along Prado.
mm-hmm,
There's a lot of trees there.
yes.
Because you got that little park-like thing off Cypress Grove with a lot of trees in it, plus the road itself.
You said along Prado as well, but Prado up to the roundabout,
Yes.
across from where Casella would be and Matarita on the other side, that road. Once you get to the roundabout where Prado and Pistoia split out,
Right.
that should be all.
That should be all
homeowners
theirs
association,
right now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's all homes on each one of those roads.
Right, I don't think there's any streets beyond there that,
Okay. so
would
I-
be
yeah,
ours.
I'd say, so
But-
yeah,
but to
Prado
that
up-
second
up to-
turnaround.
Up to the roundabout would be us.
yeah,
So I
the
think-
second roundabout.
I think
Well-
a number between 40 and 50%
Yeah,
versus this 10 to
Just
15.
eyeballing the map, 40% looks pretty close, just in geography.
Well, if you look at, for instance, the landscape contract and things like that, they're at about 40-50%
Yeah.
range.
Yeah.
So that one probably needs to come in about the same.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, tree trimming,
You know, you may wanna, again, run that by Sarah
Yeah.
and Jason,
Things
but,
like that.
but
They're at
our
about
feeling is that
40,
it needs to be up in the
50%
range.
range. So
Even,
that
you
would
might as well do
probably
that for ant control.
about the same.
And for ant control as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
even though we haven't had any this year.
Mhm.
Fire ants?
Yeah.
well, Sarah said it's because they don't
Yeah,
treat
that's why
till
you
summertime.
gotta stay on top of it.
Yeah, they don't treat
Yeah.
it till summertime.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to do it.
Yeah, so it will get done,
Mhm.
Well, now it's wet, they'll start coming up.
yeah,
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
yeah.
It's like popping up everywhere.
Mhm.
And frogs, we have a lot of frogs.
You don't spray it.
Yeah, they don't treat it.
Klaus downstairs says about
All right, so.
Okay.
Okay. Annuals, I, per Sarah, we have 12 monuments in Cypress Grove. I rode my bike around and counted them. And best way to do it. And I can't get this to slide over for some reason to what she. Anyway, two
You're trying to do-
rotations of annuals at the 12 monuments would be $7,200 annually for Cypress Grove. And the main portion for Old Pelican, Sarah says should stay the same, it's under contract.
Boy, cause,
Yeah, but why would it be so much less? for
exactly,
annuals?
yeah.
You got a lot more planting, because you've got all the planting out front, you've got
Oh, yes.
those big
Okay.
corners,
Yeah,
with the golf club and everything
and on
else.
the
That's true.
median,
Along-
on the
oh, yeah,
median.
sure,
and-
sure, of
and
course, along
on
tree line.
Tree
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, we
Oh,
don't have that.
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
and
You're right.
once you get onto Cypress Grove, I don't think there's any annuals except at the monuments.
Okay.
Do you remember seeing any, Jan, down there?
Some of the monuments don't have any.
Well, we know
We know
that.
that.
Because Juniper hasn't done their job.
I haven't been able to get on my bike yet, but next week I can.
Once you get onto Cypress Grove, I don't think there's any annuals.
No, I think they're all perennials.
Yeah, it's all, that would
Some
be
of them
a,
not so great looking, but
no,
it's
there's a
one-
lot of things that need to be
That
replaced.
is another whole issue,
Yeah.
so what they look like now. and-
So you think the 7,000 is reasonable?
I think if all we're doing is the monuments, yes,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, because
Yep.
2 rotations a year for each monument.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
some of them not so great looking.
feature fountain repairs and maintenance, once again, that's a contract. And then some additional for repairs and maintenance, so that, and it's only $2,000 for repairs and maintenance above the contract, so I just left that the same as last year.
But again,
Feature fountain repairs
This is the fountain.
This is fountains.
Fountains up
just
front.
fountains up front.
We don't have any fountains
Yeah,
in,
right.
in the new
Okay.
I was
area.
asking myself the same
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the ones up front,
So
okay.
they don't include the ones in the ponds.
No,
No,
that's all
no,
separate.
that's all separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, feature fountain utilities, I used the actual for the first 8 months of the year, projected it out. I have 3% there, I'm pretty sure I did 4%, that might be a typo. Because I did pretty much 4% on everything. Irrigation electric, I did the same thing, projected it out. Now, I don't know
Yeah, we need to add Cypress Grove to that. so
what
you
kind
know.
of irrigation we have to deal with in Cypress Grove.
We're gonna be responsible for it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
So-
remember Cypress Grove, it's kind of a mix, like you pay your own irrigation separately, don't you? You have 2 meters on your house?
Our water comes from 2 different places.
Oh, that's right.
The irrigation
only a
comes
small
from one
portion.
source, and the sinks and faucets come from a
So how
different
much of
source.
Cypress Grove do you pay Gateway for?
We're part of Gateway, but there's not a
No,
whole
no,
lot
on
of us in
Cypress Grove
Gateway.
itself, that road. How much of that is?
It ends, just about where Karina
that's right.
reintroduced.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it
I was
even
gonna say, so
includes-
most of that would be still Fort Myers. For
And,
us.
and Matarita 1 is Fort
It's
Myers.
Fort Myers, correct. That's what we're getting at.
But
Yeah.
Where does it switch over?
But in the middle of those communities, you see the signs.
Yeah.
Right, but you don't see it on Cypress
Not
Grove.
a clear.
No,
line
they're
demarcation.
back in Matarita, all those signs are in Matarita. And
Right.
they're like
2.
3/4 of the way down
Yeah.
Matarita Boulevard, Matarita Drive, you see the sign.
Right.
And then on all those other little side streets. Which they're stupid signs.
But in any case,
They are dumb. I don't
regardless
know
of
why
who we
they
have to
have
pay, for
Let's just
water.
take them out.
Yeah,
We
We
still
gotta
have
pay- yeah.
irrigation, electric. We
right.
still
Well,
gotta
no,
pay somebody.
No, because the homeowner's paying for, the homeowners there pay
For the
The-
water we use.
for the water.
Right.
For
I'm not
their
talking
electric.
about- Yeah, I'm not talking about
And-
inside the community, I'm talking about on Cypress Grove itself.
Yeah.
The communities aren't paying for that, I don't believe.
No, Matarita 2 is the only one, so we
Yeah.
are gonna have irrigation electric everywhere except Cypress Grove, Matarita 2.
Right.
In the new part, Prado and Pistoia are not gonna be paying their own, they're gonna have, their setup's gonna be just like ours.
I'm confused.
Why did
Well,
they get ganked?
can I think we need to ask Chris if if the district has separate meters for where that line is, for the common area, which is really the issue here, the common
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
I don't think they do. I've been down talking to lots of different people, and I met with Florida Power and Light, and I think Matarita too, and some of those new small streets are the only ones that have 2 meters. But it's a
They
question
are,
worth asking.
they are.
I think that
But
Cypress
you have 2
Grove.
meters on your house.
But that's for, we never paid for irrigation in the communities themselves, right?
Right, no.
So that's kind of a moot point.
That's true.
Well,
All
no,
we're worried about
no,
is
the
Cypress
district-
Grove. You're right. All we're concerned with is Cypress Grove,
Right.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
boulevard, not the side
Yeah,
streets.
that's what I'm saying.
So we need to ask Chris, because Chris would know,
Yes.
that was his job when he came on, where those meters are.
Well,
Yeah.
my point is from a budget perspective, do we care? We still gotta pay somebody,
Can we
whether
jump,
it's to Gateway
well-
or Fort Myers, we gotta pay somebody.
can we jump ahead just a second? to-
Yeah, sure.
I went through 3 months of the utility bills. There's approximately 35 utility FPL bills that come a month to us. So Sarah told me something that concerned me last week, and that was that we're paying very little Cypress Grove street lighting. So I did a little spreadsheet, and one of the bills that we are paying is for irrigation on Cypress Grove. I don't know how long we've been paying it, but I think for quite a while. So we shouldn't have been paying it, but it looks like we've been paying it for a while. And I did 3 months, and it averaged $279 a month for Cypress Grove irrigation,
$279?
a month, yeah.
So it's not a big swinger.
No,
But you're-
it's not.
But you're saying we haven't been paying? for
We
s-
have,
Have it.
Yes, but for the lighting, we haven't been paying?
that's what Sarah tells me, so that's why I did
On
this
Cypress
spreadsheet.
Grove.
We're paying 1 light bill a month for Cypress Grove, and it's very small.
But I thought we
I
agreed to
thought-
that because we haven't taken the road, so
Right, we
we
shouldn't
shouldn't
have.
be
We
I
shouldn't have been paying for-
understand that, but I
any of
had
that.
I had the impression the number was a lot bigger than that.
It was, and last year's budget, or we go back 2 years to that budget, when I did the budget last year, there was a large amount for the Old Pelican and for Cypress Grove. I increased both of those by the 10.95% for this year. Now, when Castle Group inputs street lighting, they don't separate them out, they just throw them all into one account.
Right.
And that's why I did the spreadsheet after Sarah told me we're really not paying that much, because that means all this lighting that we've been thinking was Cypress Grove already
Yeah.
is really Old Pelican, 90% of it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now, let me be sure, the individual communities off of Cypress Grove, we're not paying for that lighting?
doesn't look like it. No, in fact, April sent an email to Jason asking him about the street lights on Solaro.
Yeah.
And he responded that they were already being paid by the CDD, and that's not true. I can't find any bills that relate to Solaro.
So you can tell from the bills where the locations are?
The bills, I guess I could have made copies of all of this, and I didn't. The bills list the service address, and then they say what they're for, like, the first one is on Centrala Drive, and it's fountains. Second one is Lake 16. So, yeah, they tell us what they're for, and there's only one. These that I have highlighted all relate to Cypress Grove. The first one is Centrala, which is a Cypress Grove street, and that's for a fountain. I don't see a fountain over there. I rode my bike over to look for one, I couldn't find one, but there is, when you're on Citrella, are you guys kind of familiar with Citrella? Okay, in between, Migliera and Severino, there's some kind of a station right there, like a pumping station or something right next to the pond. So I'm thinking this bill relates to that somehow. They're calling it fountain, but it's not a fountain.
So are we paying that bill?
We're paying that bill.
We are paying that
We're
bill.
paying that bill. The next one we have is Cypress Grove irrigation. Oh, and that first one averaged for the 3 months I input $97 a month. The second one is Cypress Grove Drive irrigation, and that just lists 1,000 Cypress Grove as the address. The third one is Serene Way irrigation, and that's over in that area too. And the fourth one is Cypress Grove Lights, which averaged $129 a month. And Sarah had contacted FPL to find out how many light poles that covered, but she hasn't gotten back to me.
So all these items you just listed, we are
We
or
are
not?
paying, we are
Are
paying.
paying.
And we
The only
shouldn't be.
ones I have, the only ones I see are what we're paying, so if
See,
I.
I must admit, I was under the impression, in fact, I've been making a big deal about the fact that we need a retroactive payment from WCI for bills that we paid in Cypress Grove. And indeed, my understanding was that April was kind of negotiating with them about that payment. I guess that's gone up in smoke at this
Well,
point.
these
Let
are,
me make sure I understand what you just, all the ones you listed, we're paying for, and that amounts to $279 a month?
the one does, the four of them together
Yeah,
Okay.
average $549 a month.
Okay, so now
For
it's
how many months have
$549 a
we
month that
paid?
we're
okay,
paying.
yeah.
Right,
About
so,
how many
that's-
months have we paid?
I don't know.
Probably
We
since
don't
they've been
know.
up there, that's,
I mean,
it's been
Probably
over a year.
forever.
Jen, the feeling was that we didn't really know exactly how much, and we'd have to come to some kind of a negotiated settlement as to
Yeah.
how much they were gonna repay us, if you will. But it doesn't sound like we're talking big numbers.
Well,
here.
it's 6,000 or 7,000 a year.
Yeah.
So,
Possibly,
Yeah,
500 number each.
yeah.
and the budget for street lighting in Cypress Grove that we're showing
Yes.
was pretty significant. But according to Sarah, that's not what we're paying. I couldn't find, I mean, I went through these 3 months and I input every single FPL bill that I get. And
So what we don't know is then what WCI
that's- Is paying,
is paying.
right?
So,
But Sarah should know.
Sarah should know.
no, yeah. So
I would
that's
think.
one of the questions we gotta get from Sarah.
And that's one of the things I had asked her
Yeah.
to get for me.
Okay.
And that combined number is what we should be budgeting for
Yes.
18.
Yes,
Our number and her number.
Yeah.
yes.
So we're talking here now, what you're talking about there is irrigation electric, is that right?
Well,
Well, both.
three of
Irrigation
these
is further
four are
down.
irrigation.
Yes.
And one is street lighting.
Street lighting, okay, so
Street
it's
lighting
both,
electric.
so the issue is both irrigation electric, 706-514, and then down in street light, oh no.
Street lighting electric.
521.
521.
So we're talking both of those that we need to find out, yeah.
Well, I mean, for today's purposes, though, we need to put some numbers in there.
How can
This
we,
is John Gregory.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
I remember last year, Sarah said the number we were paying for Cypress Grove Electric was fairly high.
Well, that's what the impression I certainly was under, John, and,
I mean, and that was brought up at a couple meetings, and I thought she was pretty confident with that.
yeah, I must admit, I'm a little confused too at this point because, as I said, it's one of the issues that we set as a kind of a subset of the conveyance issues.
And last year's budget, based on that, was higher for Cypress Grove than it was for Old Pelican, when you look at last year's budget. But because of looking at this, I moved it all into Old Pelican on this budget so far, because we don't really have any idea what the actual numbers are for Cypress Grove.
That's why it's showing 0, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So Sarah has got to get us that answer as to So, because otherwise we're not, we don't know what to budget.
Right.
Right.
I would assume that she would have those numbers.
Yes.
She didn't sound like she did because she said she was going to FPL to see how many streetlights were covered under the one bill we do pay.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if she was going to try to project that out then by how many streetlights are in Cypress Grove, because that would include all the neighborhoods too. And I know,
Really?
yeah. Yeah, because we pay the streetlights in all neighborhoods, right? That's not part of a neighborhood budget.
Right. I believe that's so.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have anything in our
No.
HOA budget
No,
for
there's
street
nothing,
lighting.
yeah, there's nothing, if you look at your
Yeah.
HOA budget, it doesn't,
Yeah.
it won't have
Okay.
it.
And like Solaro has 9 streetlights on it, according to Sarah. I didn't go out and count them, but she said we have 9 streetlights. We're short street.
Oh, hi Gina, this is Nancy Hall. I'm calling
I thought at one point in time, Christine Cassio came up with a number that we paid per light bulb. Says it was a very confusing, it's been a confusing issue for a long time.
Okay.
So she went out, if memory serves me right, and she counted poles and came to us one time and said, every pole will cost you this much money, and that's how she made one of those projections. Now, the point of that is when we're coming to Cypress Grove, if we know the number of poles, we ought to be able to pretty well guess what the cost is gonna be, that's number one. But the second thing, there ought to be a corresponding decrease in the HOA dues.
Hi Jason, this is
As we
Nancy
take it,
Hall and
we're
Preston
taking money out of
Peck.
one pocket, HOA, and putting in
Fine.
another pocket, CDD. But the cost should net out to the
We're
residents,
going
it's
over
still
the
gonna be the
budget
same.
numbers.
It's just
We
how you
have
pay
a
it.
lot of questions.
Whether you pay it here, or you're paying it in HOA dues. So
True.
whatever number we come up with, there ought to be a corresponding drop
Reduction.
on the
yeah.
other side of the
Is
ledger.
it possible?
And we should know the per
that you
light,
can join us
because
via
one of the,
conference
one of
call
the,
or-
part of the analysis of putting the LED lights in
Was,
Let me-
right,
was the cost of
consumption per-
consumption per light.
per fixture.
Correct.
That
Per
is
light,
right.
right?
Yep,
Yeah.
and it was a very
Jason.
quick payback. Like
Good.
2 years or something.
We're looking at the electric right now. And remember when we were talking, you and I and Sarah?
Huh?
Jason.
And we were discussing how many, our assumption was we were paying a lot of electric over in Cypress Grove, and Sarah said there was just one bill.
Nancy, I'm
Do you
wondering,
guys have any, yeah, do you guys have any information on what the total cost of
Huh?
streetlights are over in Cypress Grove?
I don't think he's gonna be nearly as familiar as Sarah is.
no,
I'm just gonna have to run it
that's
by
go
him.
for it. Yeah, you're probably right.
Okay,
This is one of those issues that percolates up, we beat it for a while, and then it goes away, and a year from now we
Yeah,
talk about it.
yeah,
We never really nail it down.
yeah, right,
Be
right.
nice if we could nail it down.
really?
Well, we're nailing it soon.
Okay.
These are done now. It'll all come
Well,
out in the wash.
So for the other streetlights in Cypress Grove, who's paying that bill right now then?
Yeah,
Right, right. Mm-hmm, right. So for the other streetlights in Cypress Grove, who's paying that bill right now then? Right. Okay, okay. Be- Okay, because I went through and did a breakdown on 3 months' worth of electric bills, and there's nothing for Cypress Grove as far as streetlights, except the one right on Cypress Grove. So I don't think we are paying that one right now. Okay, okay. Right, right, yes. Because I went through Yes. and did a breakdown on 3 months' worth of
Nancy,
electric
yeah.
bills, and there's
well, I think,
Yeah. Right. Could you and or Sarah join us? Can you call, do you have the number that? Okay,
Huh?
my number is 464
yeah, we gotta get,
3544.
we gotta get their number if we want a conference in that.
He's gonna call me
Okay.
back. Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
He's gonna see if Sarah's available, cause
Okay.
I don't think Jason's gonna be.
Yeah, I
here.
know
don't
the
think-
answers, that's what Bob suggested.
Jason's not
that-
gonna know. If
yeah.
she can't join us, I don't think
Yeah,
it's worth
it makes
having
it,
him join
okay,
us.
well, let's keep going,
Okay.
and you'll have to
So
circle
let's
back
go
with the
back to
answers.
where we were when that took us down there.
Yeah,
Future
irrigation
found, I think we were at,
We were at boardwalk maintenance and repairs.
no, we were way up above.
Maybe you were there.
Not sure where.
I was there.
Okay,
So feature fountain,
utilities is where we got
Yeah.
sidetracked and went down to the hole, I think.
yeah, right. Okay,
So,
then irrigation electric,
right,
which we've just been debating, so we're at
Yep.
access control, I think, right?
Yeah.
yeah, we're at access control. I did a 5% increase. Sarah was, not sure if it was 3% or 5% for their contract, so she was gonna look into that, so I did the 5%.
Okay.
Then Gatehouse,
Let me ask you this, Nancy, I know, we were paying them something extra for the background check stuff, which obviously should go away now, were we not?
yeah, we had put about $400, and I'm trying to think,
Okay.
I took that
It's
out.
probably not enough, okay,
yeah,
all right, let's not worry about it.
Out of 377,000.
Yep.
yeah,
Not
a
and
big
I think I
issue. It was
took
the
that out,
principal.
because we had it,
No, but
No, it was a principal, I agree, and it was gonna be, I thought it was gonna be a couple thousand a year, actually, so it was.
Normally
was-
would be.
the-
it's not
yeah.
gonna influence this.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, we only put, I think, it was either 400 or 500 we put in the
Okay.
budget for
It's
it
only
last year.
important if you're paying.
Does this
You're paying,
number
that's
cover
important.
all of Cypress Grove?
Yes, because access
The
control
access
is,
control is,
this is just the access control at the front of the,
Although this is just the front gate, not the roving patrols and all that stuff?
oh, yeah, that
everything.
covers
Well,
everything
that's what
from
I'm
there.
asking.
Yeah.
Are they gonna up roving patrols, cause they now have to do Cypress Grove?
No, we'll just get less.
It's a
frequent.
frequency thing.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
More roads to travel, less hours to do it.
But you know, that is something that somebody's probably gonna have to
'Cause
decide in the
they're out
future,
there
not
now, that's
us.
why I asked the question.
Yeah,
I've seen them,
because as they are, you know, there's quite a few people living back there in the new section now.
and they do
So they ride around.
patrol back there.
They do?
They do.
do they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen them several times.
Yeah.
The only,
I've
the only
seen
way
this.
to increase the roving patrol would be to have a second
Second,
rover.
well, and that's why I wanted to
Yeah, and
ask
that's a-
whether that number is gonna go up, cause they're gonna come back and say we need more people. Okay.
Wow,
But
okay.
it is something somebody will probably have to think about. Not us, though. Gatehouse electrical and janitorials, repairs, et cetera. I did the same thing there, actual through May, plus 4% increase. So that actually went down a little bit. No, yeah, that one went down just a little bit. Supplies and passes,
Gate
Oh,
repairs and
gate
maintenance.
repairs and maintenance. That one we have a contract also. And I did a combination, the contract and then additional repairs, so that one went down just a couple $100.
Does that include people knocking the gates off?
Yeah, and I'm a little confused as to how April was handling that. She basically told Jason that he should be sending that to them because they should be dealing with their insurance company. So I haven't seen repairs to the gate in a while now, so I think Jason was doing that. So it's,
I think that's when you need to circle back to them,
yeah,
is to find
Well,
out how that's handled.
yeah,
because-
but before I was seeing the bills that actually said somebody hit the gate, I haven't seen any now in probably 4 months.
Well, you know, since they're leaving them open more, probably having less incidents too.
That was the gate that was hit most often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been open a lot during the day now, so.
But basically, she said it shouldn't have been a
Exit gate.
matter of us paying it and
Exit
then
gate.
working it through the system. He should have been sending it to her for submission to insurance companies, so.
I see.
So hopefully he's been doing that, because I haven't seen bills. Supplies and passes, based on actuals, plus 4% increase, so that one actually went up a little bit this year.
Finally using them.
Well, I think it's getting to the point too that, because that includes the barcodes for our cars, and more are needing to be replaced because people have been
But
here a
visitors
while.
are now getting the passes much
Yeah.
They're
more than they
getting, they're
ever did
getting them,
before.
plus people are getting, we only get 3 before we have to start paying for them, so they had ordered a big supply of those too, so. And I don't know where that money goes if they do it at $10. They charge
A
for them.
lot of passes for $10.
It's a lot of passes, but I assume it goes back in here somehow.
Yeah.
We've asked several times and haven't gotten an answer.
We haven't really gotten an answer on that, no. So, sidewalk and road repairs, I did that on actual so far this year, plus a 4% increase, and that went down. I don't know if that's something we wanna
Well,
take
a-
down.
and I assume, although probably less because it's a newer community, but you're gonna have
You're gonna have
sidewalk
some
and
over
road
there.
repairs in Cypress Grove.
Well, yeah,
Well,
and
They don't have as many of the, what's the ugly tree we don't like?
Oh, the oak tree?
the oak
The oak
trees.
trees.
Live oaks?
You know, a lot of this is the oak trees lifting in areas like that too.
Well,
But I think we have to put something in for Cypress
Oh, I think
Grove.
so too.
you know,
Yes.
the other thing is, this is another one to watch what Stephen puts in the main budget, because there's another line item there for this in
Right.
the, in the
For the
gateway budget.
bigger repairs, because
Right.
ours is just for the small type repairs, from what I understand.
We have capital budget reserved for the big
For big repairs.
repairs.
Well, we have,
But-
we have
but
the
there's also-
capital,
There is also in the operating expenses that get sent to us,
Hello?
there is a
Yeah.
road sidewalk maintenance and repairs.
Hi.
yes.
Yeah, the minor things, not
Yeah,
the
right.
go and replace a road.
So we've got road repairs, potentially three places.
There's two lines for that, one here and one in the CDD budget.
Correct.
Oh,
Separate.
no, that's
Okay.
okay, we'll
Another
work through this,
5,000.
yeah, we'll work through this, and then you'll be at our meeting Thursday,
Yeah, the minor,
our regular meeting,
go and replace a road.
yeah, yeah.
So we've got road
Okay.
repairs, potentially three places.
Okay,
Correct.
oh, that's okay, and I'll get a list of questions to you after today's meeting before Thursday's. Okay, all right. Okay. Mhm. Thanks, bye. Sarah's in a meeting.
Okay, so yes, there is $5,000 for road and sidewalk maintenance and repairs in the CDD budget that we get.
We get to pay, right?
Yeah, we get to pay, I
get to
mean,
pay.
it gets allocated to us, and so we pick up that. But it seems to me that if we're gonna add Cypress Grove in there, we sure don't wanna go down less than last year.
No, and do we want to, I mean, I assume we're gonna keep a separate item for Cypress Grove, so,
For now,
we could just
Oh,
put
Keep-
5,000 in there?
put 5,000 in and keep it approximately the same as
Yeah.
last year between the
Yes.
two.
yeah.
Okay.
This should be about the last year we separate Cypress.
I was just
Road.
gonna say, oh,
Well-
yeah.
There
Oh,
now
yeah,
is.
they should be.
Well, we will still need to separate a group or class of houses on Cypress Grove that are paying utilities differently than those of us that pay the city. Because the overhead for the building, the overhead for whoever is in charge of it now, salary and stuff like that, that shouldn't come to the rest of us. It should go to the people that pay
Right.
or are provided services.
Keep talking, I'm pedaling as fast as I can, I'm not keeping up. I know that there's people in Cypress that buy their over here, get their water and whatever.
Right.
Right,
That's who I assume you're talking about.
yes.
But from a budget point of view,
No, we don't, the total budget, yes, it needs to be in here, but it needs to be separated, like the taxes are separated, or the bond proceeds are separated. Because we pay for bonds for
Correct.
phase one,
Correct.
and the Cypress Grove people don't. So, the people that get their utilities from Gateway have an overhead component that the rest of us will not.
with you there all the way.
And that
The only,
needs,
the only thing I'm disconnected is how that process, whatever that process is, enters the budget process.
so,
That's what I'm not
Well,
connecting, yes.
what Nancy's saying is, we gotta differentiate the,
You don't.
the per EAU charge, I think I'm saying this correctly, for the homes that get their utilities from Gateway versus the homes who get their utilities from the city of Fort Myers. Because some of those charges, some of the overhead charges.
Okay, all right, but that, okay, I follow that.
Yes,
not sure why when we talk about Cypress Grove road maintenance or trees or landscaping, that would be impacted.
I'm not-
No, no,
I'm
no,
not
no, it's not
saying
there.
that.
No,
Okay, okay,
she's
okay.
Not saying that,
She's
I'm
talking-
saying,
She's talking overhead.
Okay,
If
But-
there's a
but we're not-
separate,
But she's addressing your question of, do we have to keep Cypress Grove separate?
now I'm with you. That's a bigger picture than that budget,
That's
Right.
correct.
but we never can
Next
lose sight of the
level up.
fact, I'm there,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
Now I'm with you.
now we've lost.
What they're saying is, your water bill,
yep,
you get your water from
gateway.
It does not include some of the overhead charges.
I would think it does.
No, it does not.
It doesn't.
Now I'm with you.
It
That's a bigger
doesn't.
picture.
So do we get
Us
invoices?
separately.
Do we get invoices?
We get a percentage that we get charged, like, there's a water manager, a district water manager, that person's salary. We get to pay for part of that.
You get to pay for that.
You get to pay it, we don't.
And that's what we're saying, we're saying, all the folks,
No, we're not gonna pay for that.
But we pay the
Hey,
city
last time we turned off
manager.
your water, you didn't like it. Come on. We have no problem, just tell Jan said,
I wanna switch to city water.
move, got a house for sale.
No, actually, your water is cheaper
Cheaper, I
than
know.
our water.
absolutely, even with that overhead, it's
Yeah,
cheaper.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'd
But
like to know what the
philosophically,
overhead
this
is.
should be the
Water.
last year from budgetary items,
For budgetary items,
where we would
absolutely.
keep talking about Cypress Grove, it's,
Exactly,
we're all one.
exactly. Yep.
Assuming
Okay.
it all comes in, yeah.
Yep,
Correct.
yep.
Okay.
But keep them separate for this year?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, well, yes, I think when
this
we're
stuff.
discussing.
We
when
have to
putting the
keep
budget
ourselves
together.
straight.
Yeah, so we don't go nuts.
And after this, it'll be
It'll be
a lot
great.
easier.
Budgetary items.
Where we would keep talking about.
Yeah.
It will be, have faith.
Okay, all right. Street lighting, electric, we've already talked about that. We've
Beat
got,
that one to death.
yeah, yeah. But I think it probably is gonna be a higher amount than we have here right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
The VoIP and the housing support, that's a contract. So reduced by $1,600 because last year we had a $1,600 fee for switching over to the new one. So I took that back out and just be the contract for this year. Neighborhood monument maintenance, I did the actual for Old Pelican. And, how did I project this one
Did
out?
was that part of your count of the monuments? Did you? put-
Yeah, last year I counted them, and,
Well, you said you counted.
12, we had
12.
12 of them, yeah. Yeah, and we had projected these out last year based on that, so that was just a projection from last year. Irrigation repairs and maintenance. That one, I did the contract, amount, the $625 a month, and then I took the additional expenses and, projected them out over the year with a 4% increase in, so that one.
Seems to me that's one where we'll need a Cypress Grove component, won't we?
Yeah.
We
We
have
don't
to
have
ask
anything in there
council.
for Cypress Grove right now.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah, any of these things that are in Cypress Grove, we're gonna need a Cypress Grove component.
And that one, again, I don't know, that 30 or 40% thing, it would seem to me,
Yeah, I think we
be
should,
pretty,
when in doubt, put 40% in.
yeah.
Okay, so pretty much any Cypress Grove expense such as, plant replacements, anything like that,
Sure.
Yeah.
go with 40% for
Well,
this year?
unless Sarah
something
can
else.
give you
Actual numbers.
either actual
Better-
numbers or a
better
better estimate, a better basis.
Yeah, if
Well,
they've already
yeah.
been paying something, that'll be a
Yeah.
Well,
much
the
better.
problem
that's
with
what-
Cypress Grove is there's a ton of plants that need to be replaced, but nothing's been done
Well,
in ages.
That's
Yeah.
part of the turnover
So-
process.
Yeah.
that we have to
Yeah,
Well,
but I mean,
well-
we wouldn't have good numbers, even if Sarah can tell
Yes,
us what they
yeah.
spent, they wouldn't be good numbers because they haven't done their job.
Well, we know they're low numbers, but if she spends something, that's a good basis point to begin.
You know,
And like I said, when in
There's
doubt, add
areas-
40%.
Yeah, there's areas where they've taken plants out 6 months ago, completely emptied them out and never came back to plant.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we may not be able to fix that in 1 year. If none of that gets fixed
Well,
before turnover,
yeah, well,
we may not be able to fix those issues in 1 year.
yeah.
Well, and
We
it,
may have to
As
spread
part
it
of,
out.
as part of the turnover, we're gonna try and get them to
Well,
pick up the tab for that.
of
Now,
course.
well,
those
and
will
it,
be-
But the
and it very well
probability
may
is-
be that if they pulled them out and didn't replace them, that they don't want to replace them until they're sure of the
Turnover
turnover.
happened.
Turnover day.
I wouldn't blame them if they
I
did
don't blame
that.
them for that either, and that's what
That
they
would be
said.
fine.
We've already fixed all this stuff once, and now it's a year later, and now you want us to do it again. So I have a little sympathy, not much, but a little sympathy.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that stuff being watered?
Yeah, well, then there's that.
They let
Well,
stuff.
and that's the problem.
They were totally neglected,
Exactly.
totally.
Because they
really were.
had, because they had to pay for the irrigation
So
electric.
we'll come up with some number.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so I'll just do 40% of that for now too,
Yeah, unless you can have a better number.
unless I can
40%.
get a better number from Sarah.
Yeah.
And anything I can't get a better number from her, I'll do 40%. Tree and sod replacement, the 3,000 is what we had used last year.
So we'll come up with some number.
And once again, Sarah said that they haven't really started replacing the side yet, so there aren't any good numbers to use from this year, so I just used last year's. Street lighting repairs and maintenance was well below last year. Once again, Sarah says that's because of the LED lights. Aren't requiring the trucks to come in and change the light bulbs, so that went down
That's
substantially.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Impressive.
But we are gonna have to add a component in there for Cypress
Cypress
Grove
Grove.
too. Yeah.
Especially since
Well,
they haven't put the LED lights in.
Yeah, we're gonna have to add two components, one for that and then one to do some amount of the
LED
replace
lights.
the LED lights.
And I don't know, you know, I think we're below budget overall this year, so maybe we can do the
Push some of
same
it.
thing we did last
Yes,
year, push
some of that into.
some of that into
Correct,
this year for the replacement.
Yeah, we're gonna have to add
Absolutely.
Okay.
one for that and then
Street lighting, traffic signage repairs and maintenance, there's been basically no expense for that. I mean, based this on actual, it was a 4% increase and still only had
Not very much
$900.
compliance either.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Maybe we don't need them.
Direct to it anyway.
And they didn't charge us to paint over the bicycle
Oh,
sign,
good, they
so.
I can't
The
believe they did
cart
that.
crossing signs on Cypress Grove.
Yes.
Is one that lights up.
Yes.
That works sometimes and doesn't work other times. That will become our responsibility.
I would assume so. That's
Assumedly it
solar.
will.
Do we need that there?
Well,
If they don't change the crossing, where it is physically, the answer is yes.
yeah. One
my
of
opinion.
the things,
problem seeing the golfers.
huh?
Golfers have a
You-
problem seeing you.
You, if the golfers particularly, there's one place there, if they come off Ibis 8 going to Ibis 9, and they follow the route they're supposed to follow, which most people don't.
Cars are
If
on
they're-
them in a
If they're
heartbeat.
members, they're coming out of a sidewalk where the cars are on them.
Coming
like
over a
that.
hill
They're coming
and-
right over, around a corner,
On both
over a
sides.
hill.
On both
You
Where
can't-
is this?
The crossover.
The crossover.
between Ibis 8.
From the Azura side to the
Cypress.
Solero side.
Yeah. From
The
the
cross,
Azure-
when you first get on Cypress Grove,
Yeah.
that first crossover.
Right.
That's what we're talking
Oh,
about.
golfers have trouble seeing the cars?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, coming
Oh,
the other, oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
Not going up Cypress, but
Not go-
returning from Cypress to Pelican Reserve Boulevard.
Ah.
The cars coming over that hill and that curve are blind to golf carters.
I couldn't,
That's why that sign was.
well,
put
the
up to
sign's
start.
there for the cars. Do the golfers get to see it?
No.
But it's to let the cars know to slow down.
Be aware
because
of
the
it.
carts
Yeah.
can't see them.
Especially
do.
someone who's not used
It's-
to there being a crossing.
It's a very dangerous situation.
Okay.
It's an accident waiting to happen.
All right.
You know,
Except
one-
according to Ed Tinkle's.
They don't want accidents.
No, it's back, you know,
He's back.
Yeah, he's backed away from it.
He's wavering, okay,
Well,
good.
no, he's not wavering, he's supporting us. Oh, us,
Because
yeah.
at the meeting I was at, he was the opposite.
I know he was,
Okay.
but he was very supportive of us
Good.
going
Take
after,
one of the
going
CBD
after them.
members.
He's been very supportive.
Okay, good.
Right?
I'm glad to
Oh,
hear that.
Yeah.
I was totally impressed with the meeting.
Yeah.
He's supportive of moving that crossing?
Well, he's supportive of us going after them to get things fixed before we accept the assets. That's what
Right.
he's supportive of.
Right.
And at one time, he seemed to be pushing for Lennar to
Yeah,
make it happen.
exactly.
Because we hadn't been timely, we, the board, hadn't been, not
Well,
us.
we still are on a time-sensitive mission to get what repairs we want done before the turnover in for this phase.
Well, they turned
Absolutely.
over my street and they didn't do anything to it. I mean, they
Yeah.
didn't fix anything, they turned it over.
Well, we are gonna have that on Thursday, we're gonna have that discussion with Chris, because he's the one who's gonna help us kinda guide through,
Yep.
guide through that issue. Okay?
So, traffic signage and repairs, do we want to
Just leave it alone.
leave it low and add a little bit for Cypress Grove?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'll do 40% there too?
yeah, sure.
No,
Okay.
I don't think that needs 40%.
Well,
Well, it's not a
40% of
very big
900.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
okay.
talking a
Sure.
little bit of money, yeah.
I thought you were looking 7,800, okay,
No,
40%.
no, there just hasn't been much expense this year at all for that. And I can't see where we would have a lot of expense.
Now, at some point, some of those signs get so ratty, we may have to replace them.
Yeah.
And they're expensive when you replace them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's not too bad if you don't replace the pole.
Huh?
If you don't
You don't
replace the
replace
pole,
it.
it's
You're
not
right,
too bad.
you're right.
Replace the pole is a different story.
So do we want to leave it this low, or should I up,
Yeah, maybe you ought to,
up that a little bit too?
yeah.
Maybe do 2,000 for
2,000,
that?
yeah.
Okay. Signs, 2,000. 40%. Okay. The lease golf cart is the same as above. It's that, there's two little carts they lease. One gets charged to Shared and one gets charged to us.
Did anyone use them?
Yeah, I see them. It's the ones you see the guys running around in, that aren't Ameriscape employees, the
So when I
ones that
gotta
are.
take pictures of all the areas that need to be repaired by Lennar, I
No.
can use the golf cart?
No,
No.
You can.
Well, I don't have a golf cart.
I see. We'll find you one.
Okay.
So, and then pressure cleaning, this was per castle.
Let's see, boardwalk.
How about boardwalk?
Oh, boardwalk and maintenance
What's the
repairs.
boardwalk?
Is that the one in the preserve?
Yeah.
Preserve the bridges.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
$9,000?
And that's another thing that
places
Sarah
wood
brought
and
up to
stuff
me
and
is
paint.
that, you know,
Staining them.
those
Yeah.
bridges still belong to WCI, but they're in desperate.
But we've been doing them, we've been painting them, we've been repairing them since this committee began.
Well, we've been doing all the boardwalk repairs and just the boards, but what Sarah's saying, they're getting to the
The
point they
bridges
need more
themselves.
structural type of repairs.
Oh.
They need more major repair.
But here again, we've been shouldering that burden.
Yeah,
But we've been doing
but it's something that.
So do we have a dollar amount, and how far out do we have to plan it?
No, and if those bridges need more structural repair, we're talking a lot bigger dollars than what we've been spending up till now.
So we ought to get somebody to go and tell us what we need and when the time frame
Well,
is.
except that.
We want
it-
WCI and
don't we-
Lennar to do that.
Don't we go back to WCI?
Oh, absolutely, before they turn it over. But
Yes.
we all know the answer to that, but let's
Well,
try.
I
I
think,
don't-
Well,
I think it's
if-
That
worth a
could be a
shot.
safety issue.
that could definitely be a safety
Yeah.
issue.
Okay, I'm all in favor. I 100%.
Yeah.
so do we leave this number?
So,
Well, that's the minor number that we've been just having in our kitty.
yeah.
I would-
This is John.
Yeah.
In talking to Castle regarding some of that stuff, they anticipate a lot of repairs, I think, on the boardwalk.
Are they gonna do that while Lennar's paying the bill? We'll
Well, we
encourage
should
it,
ask them to, but Lennar hasn't been paying the bill.
because there haven't been any repairs.
What Sarah told me, and she said she's kind of confused on this issue too. She says we own the boardwalk in the preserve, but they still own the preserve.
We own the
do that while
boardwalk
Lennar-
Yes,
inside the
that's what she
preserve.
told me.
We have this discussion every year.
We have it every year. We have been, we started out pressure cleaning that in error and paying for it, because at one time, we had that preserve. WCI pulled back the preserves from us when they were cited by things that were done in the Sevilla neighborhood in a preserve about 4 or 5 years ago. So we have had no action, we've paid no bills relative to maintaining preserve since that time. However, we have maintained the pressure washing, that's the only thing we've done.
We've replaced some boards and stuff.
Yeah, but that's the minor stuff, yes. We have done those things on the bridges occasionally, the bridges and the boardwalk. But we do not own it, it's not our asset.
Well, what Sarah told me is we don't own the bridges, but we own the boardwalk.
Well, I don't know how we,
inside.
How can you own only
Yeah.
part of what's in there?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because,
think-
because the bridges are part of the path. And the path is owned partially by Sienna.
Well, only that one
and par-
section.
and partially by WCI.
But
And the bridges are all in WCI.
The bridges are all on the WCI piece.
Correct.
Yeah.
we should tell Jason and company, send the bill
Yeah, I
to
think it could-
WCI, Lennar.
I think so.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do an inspection, here's what needs to be replaced, repaired, whatever.
And don't get us involved in it all, that's
Don't-
just a
don't even
castle.
send it to us. We
There's a
don't wanna-
problem, Castle's telling Lennar there's a problem, they need to fix it.
John, can we double check this to your asset list just to be sure that it's right? Because we have this discussion every year. And before we go
They have to prove the asset.
sending
I
bills,
will try to find that information out by Thursday.
Good.
Thank you, John.
yeah, that
you,
should be
John.
part of that
It's gonna be the
agreement.
same- I mean, we're gonna have the same discussion, I think, up and down. They've been taking care of it.
Right.
John and I have had this discussion many times.
But your asset list should be saying something like that.
Exactly.
And everybody agreed to that document. So whatever the document says is what we're committed to.
Does anybody have a copy of it right now?
No, I don't.
Up on my computer.
Yeah. No, well, you get the answer by Thursday, John, we don't need it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your asset
Okay.
list should be saying something
Nancy, go ahead, pressure cleaning,
Pressure cleaning per Sarah, she's saying 13,375 for the upcoming year. We had 25,000 last year, and this is based on what they got pulled out of some of the other expenses where they actually charged the.
Yeah, we actually do it every other year. So we budget 13 a year, knowing full well we're only gonna spend 25 every other year. That's how we've been doing it up till now.
and that is pressure cleaning of the sidewalks,
No, the boardwalk.
the board, that's.
This is the boardwalk in the preserve, yes.
Is that what
No,
that is?
this
That's
is
what that is.
underneath the boardwalk maintenance and repair.
Whatever they do with their pressure cleaning, that boardwalk, that's what this 25 grand is, and that's what we've been paying for the last 7 years or so.
Oh, that's
25
what
every other
But
year.
there is
That's a
also,
total
there is
write-off.
also pressure cleaning done on the sidewalk.
Yes.
Sure.
I don't know anything about that.
This is
That's
underneath
different than this. This is specifically
Shouldn't be.
the boardwalk.
The
the
boardwalk
preserve.
cleaning should be in the boardwalk maintenance and repairs.
Sure.
And I think it is.
The pressure should be,
Yeah.
pressure
Well, maybe the
cleaning.
number's just the same, but I know it's 25 grand to pressure clean the boardwalk.
How big is the boardwalk? It's not that big.
See, there's not a different line item there. It ends at 540. Is that just an additional verbiage for boardwalk maintenance, repair, pressure?
Well, this is because they pulled the pressure cleaning out.
Okay. The pressure cleaning was divided up between 706,520, which is sidewalk and road, so a little bit of it is in there. 706,516, which is gatehouse, so there's some pressure cleaning there. 706,523, which is the monuments. And 559, this is from, this is what Jason sent me. 559, which is entry, future repairs.
Well, then this has nothing to do with the boardwalk.
Yes, that's correct.
I think
Okay.
the board.
Just a coincidence, the number's the same,
Same,
25 grand.
Yeah.
In which case, we don't have anything in here for the boardwalk.
Okay, we had,
Pressure wash.
historically, we had
Maintenance and
had
repair.
12.5 each year.
Okay.
It should, pressure washing for the boardwalk should be in boardwalk maintenance and repairs.
No, no, just a coincidence.
Well, yes, no, but
Granted,
what
the
Janet's saying, we
number-
should put a number
Yeah.
in
That's
there.
where it should be.
And it's it's not someplace else. Nancy, you remember all those conversations too?
Oh, yeah, I
Because
do.
we've been through, I know it was somewhere in our budget, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
So that's another one you gotta,
Yeah, this is, but this is what
Circle back
Jason
on.
sent me yesterday, was that the power washing
Granted, the number,
that we were pulling out and putting in this account came from these other accounts.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So is that gonna have its own line eventually? Pressure,
Yeah.
it's gonna have its own
See, they
budget
asked to
line
have
item.
it separated last year, and then they didn't do it. So we had a separate line item, and they were still charging it everywhere else. So this year, they've set up an actual account number for it now,
okay, okay.
and hopefully they'll charge.
okay, so
it.
you need to find out then where the pressure cleaning for the boardwalk
Okay.
is.
It's gonna have its own budget line item.
Is it further on, or is this the only sheet we're looking at?
This is the sheet we're looking
This is it?
at. This is
Oh.
it.
I've got nothing from Stephen about the ERUs this year, so I have no idea if that's going up or down.
I wouldn't think they would go
Well,
up.
I would not think so.
No.
It should be going up,
No,
no.
it should not be.
No.
I think that's pretty well set.
We
We'll
lucked
be
out
luck-
last
we'll-
year.
Yeah, we
They went
did.
up last
We'll
year
be
quite a
luck-
bit.
we'll be lucky,
Yeah, but
we'll be
that's
lucky
because
if it
of
holds,
Pareto
if it
destroyed
holds
it.
even, we'll be lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it went up quite a bit last year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, it went way.
We know.
Yeah,
Good news.
yeah,
That was
absolutely.
the
Not so
news
good.
last
That was the good news. I don't
Uh,
think it's gonna go up.
Can we just cycle back a little bit here? It seems to me, going up to the top, let's take us there.
Yeah, this thing is real hard to, okay.
I'm inclined on,
Not so good.
things where we're slightly under budget for, under last
Last
year's
year?
budget, like the entry feature utilities. to
Bump
go-
it up to last year?
Yeah, to bump it
Sure.
up to last year's budget.
For this,
Yeah, yeah. And
Did we change the pergolas last year? We were talking about the wood was rotting and two
They,
joints.
Yes.
they
Yeah,
did.
that's all done?
I think that's all done.
That
think
work
that's
was
all
I think
completed?
we had a
I missed
big-
it when it was done.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that was one of those things we asked for approval to do towards the end of the year last year.
yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't recall ever having seen it done.
I think, you know, we are clearly gonna have quite a bit of slack this year. So towards the end, as we start moving towards the end of the year, once we get through this budget process, I think we wanna come up with things that we could get done now and not slide into next year.
Okay.
So that's something we need to work on.
Our aim is to, what, Phil, not reduce their tax bill to keep it kind of steady, is that what we're trying to do? Or-
Oh, yeah,
Because ponds is gonna go up almost $100,000.
yes, I mean,
This
Bob,
year.
it's clear to me we're gonna have to go up.
Okay.
And what we wanna do is, it seems to me, is to hold it as close as possible.
Our aim is to.
But for this first go-round.
Okay.
Where we can still drop.
Keep as much fat as we can, that's
Keep as
right.
much fat in here now as
Well,
we possibly can.
And with your ponds going up 100, we've got the 50,000 for the traffic study.
Well, it went from
Yeah.
498 to 589.4.
Yeah.
Is that where you are now?
Yeah.
589.4?
And that's going, and the majority of it, the overwhelming majority, is the increased number of ponds.
And we
We're adding
still,
50.
and we still don't have preserves in.
That is correct. But, and I've asked Caldwell for a number, he promised me that. I hope to have it by Thursday. I don't have that yet, but you're exactly right, Nancy, that's something that'll probably come to us. But what I'm expecting that to be is a transfer cost. They're taking it to HOA now, and then they'll move it to us, so, yeah, our bill may go up, but the other corresponding side, it should go down. Somebody's paying for it right now, and I assume it's HOA for maintaining the preserves.
Who's-
No.
No,
Somebody's
No,
doing it.
it's not, it's WCI, it's not coming out of our HOA budget.
WCI's just doing it out of the goodness of their heart? Okay.
they're doing, because they own
Shame
it.
on me, I
I
figured
mean,
that
who, there must be expenses for the ponds now. Who's paying those? In
they
San
are.
Francisco.
They are. I know who they pay it to.
Yeah. So.
But I assume that they put that back in the HOA somehow.
No,
Oh, because that's good structure. Well, at least that's new, but the reserves aren't something new,
no, they've been paying them directly to
ever
Woods,
since that
Woods and
litigation
whoever.
thing, yeah. Woods and Wetlands does it, right.
Yeah,
They are. I know, because I
So
think we
when-
might have paid that one time, one bill.
I know, and when those come to us, that's gonna be a big bump also to the budget.
new, but the reserves aren't something new.
The,
I don't remember it being very much money. Ever since that.
It was probably 100,000.
Oh, I'd be surprised if it's 50. It was, I mean, I guess they didn't do much, I don't know. It was very, wasn't a
When,
big
when we
number.
talk about the preserve, we're not just talking about the main one. I mean, there's
No,
all those other.
Oh,
ones.
Those are
preserves.
the ones, that's the ones.
All
the
preserves.
All the
preserves.
All the
All the
preserves, so that
preserves.
would be a pretty big budget item. I would-
It's a big piece of territory, but not very much is
Yeah,
done.
you don't do much there,
They don't do much.
on
I
purpose.
think they have to go through yearly or something, or.
They were in there spraying.
Twice a year. Yeah, that's
yesterday.
it.
Just-
What did
They kill a
do?
Melaleuca, they kill a pepper,
Yeah,
Brazilian
yeah,
peppers.
you look
But they were just spraying along all the sidewalks in the preserve.
They do some littoral control. I'm trying to see how many we got. It doesn't show me.
The, you know, in addition, it's pretty clear, and in fact, we've already upped the number. We're gonna get hit with more, overhead from CDD, you know, because they've now got a bigger staff. They're gonna buy the Girl Scout building probably. There are gonna be a lot of things. In fact, the number's already going up. We're already paying more than they budgeted this year. I mean, they've already exceeded their budget, and we're getting stuck with most of that
Why would we be stuck with the Girl Scout?
because.
We
it's
have a
part of the
payroll.
You know, it's
part
part
We
of
of
pay
our
a portion of this over.
we pay a portion of the overhead.
Just like
So-
any other community.
A small portion, but a portion.
Well, but a portion, exactly. So we get stuck, and in fact, Jen, they've actually already upped the number this year because of the staff, some of the staff changes.
They went from one district manager
A district manager and
to
three.
4 positions,
Right.
and a position that was in Severn Trent is now a position here.
Right. Of course,
There's been a lot of organizational
They've cut their,
changes.
yeah.
Yeah, they're pulling away from Severn Trent quite a bit next
Correct.
year, is what April told me.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so Bob, yours is at 589, that was.
589, and I will, I'll have it in a spreadsheet for you on Thursday.
Okay.
But directionally, that's where we went because we counted the number of ponds and things. The only changes to the budget, I'll just quickly, but I'll cover this Thursday. Fish and carp went up from 15,000 to 35,000. It's because we're stocking a lot more ponds and we're gonna put game fish. And the GIS web portal went from 5,000 a year to 10,000, and that's something that's just gonna be an ongoing forever.
People actually catch that many fish?
Oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch.
It's
We
catch
have-
and release.
We have taken out,
Feeding the alligators.
bank restoration. That was $100,000, but then we put the same 100,000 back into downspouts. As we go forward, we're gonna be doing that project all the way
So
through.
you're not doing any bank restoration?
We don't have any right now. We're gonna do some minor, repairs,
Yeah.
but none of the $71 a foot big stuff. We think we have everything under control right now. We may have again in the future, but
Remember
right now,
71 a foot?
$71 a foot.
Where the hell is Tinkle getting his numbers?
I don't know, he's, today, we thought about 225.
Well, 235 for Armor Max and 142.
I have no idea.
He gave me a 142 number.
But you've seen the ponds we've done.
Yes.
And we do 1,000 foot a year.
Yep.
And we spend about 98,000, but that's 71,000 for the stuff,
Stuff.
and then the rest is all the other
Right.
expenditures goes. Well, I have no idea where his number comes from. I
Has
was
he-
in a meeting with him this morning,
I was
and I
gonna-
still don't know.
Oh, I see, because he was gonna talk to you. Yeah, and he did?
We talk all the time. We were.
I know.
We had a big meeting this morning over in Scaptiva.
Yeah.
The whole ponds community
yeah.
of all Florida.
Yeah.
It's a great meeting. And he still says he's paying $230 a foot. I just leave it alone. And that doesn't include aeration. There, I,
Can I see your map?
The other thing that's gonna affect the budget is what we think we need to do for reserves.
Yes.
Is the,
Ron, will we, do you think?
Well, that was the last budget item you skipped over.
Right.
There's 50,000 for this year for the reserve study. I'm having a meeting hopefully by Friday with Chris, get to the contracting side of it. We've met with a couple of different contractors. But, one question on that is, assuming the budget is signed, I mean, the contract signed this year, we don't actually pay the money out till next year, presumably. I mean, that's how it will work. Does that 50,000, we need to keep it, is what I'm saying.
it doesn't go away. Talk to Stephen Blue.
Well-
And tell him you had it in this budget, you're not gonna spend it, and he'll save it for you.
Okay, but does that,
Well, that-
should you be doing that, or
That-
should I be
with the-
doing
With the
that?
50,000 you're talking about, you mean you're taking
For the study.
You're taking the traffic study money.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's traffic study.
It's traffic study.
Oh, is that what that is? I'm sorry.
Which we don't need.
Oh,
By the way,
okay.
you.
Oh, okay.
Which you do not need, we do not need, because the traffic
Well,
study
I
was
don't
paid
think,
out of.
my other thing is, I don't think we're gonna need $50,000, but we
No.
need something.
Yeah, well, the traffic.
Depending on who the contractor is,
The
it
traffic
could be.
study is Zippo as far as our budget is
Okay, so
concerned.
the traffic study, I mean, the reserve study should be anywhere from 5,000 to 20,000, depending on what the contractor is and what has to be reserved. So it could be a relatively small number, but it needs to be somewhere in here. I don't know that we allocated any money for the reserve study in this budget.
We didn't.
So
But
we
you're
need
saying
to
it
put
would be
it,
going next year's budget, the reserve study?
well, you tell
for-
me, can
for
I use
planning-
this
for planning
money?
purposes, let's put it in the,
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah,
asking the question.
okay.
We've
Yeah.
got 50,000 sitting here for a traffic study. Can we use it as, put for the reserve study
Well, put-
instead, without going to get somebody else's
Or let's
approval?
At least,
Or,
What year are we gonna be paying that? This year or next year?
well, the contract is gonna be signed this year, but you're not gonna pay it
Till
until
next
next
year.
year.
So it would actually have to go in next year's budget then?
That's his question.
Yeah,
That's
it
my
would have to
yeah,
go in
so we
next
need,
year's.
so we need,
But-
what do we put, $25,000?
Put 25,000 in for
But
the
if we-
reserve study, just to have it.
Nancy, if we had a budget this year of $500,000 for everything Pelican, and we ended up spending $465,000, that's a $40,000 surplus somewhere.
And we have a lot of surplus from prior years.
Okay.
And that,
And everything
There's a lot
that
of
we
money
do with,
sitting there.
with the ponds, and I assume that we do the same here, we make sure that stays in ours
Yes.
and never goes into the gateway.
It stays in
kitty.
ours.
Okay,
Yeah.
It stays in
And You're
ours.
talking about cash funds.
that's right, money.
Yes.
money.
That's why, when you look at the balance sheet, that Severn Trent prepares every year, we have a lot of cash sitting there, a lot of cash.
A lot more than.
Well, I got about 1.6 million in bonds right now.
Let's talk about that, not so much for this
Okay.
submission of the budget. Do we know how much is, and I use this word carefully, surplus money we have? Do we know what that number is, or about what that number is?
Well, I got about 1.6 million in bonds.
'Cause we should be,
Yeah.
should keep a surplus.
Yeah.
Why? There's gonna be a hurricane.
I thought the surplus was our capital reserve fund. You mean
No, no,
something
no.
else?
There-
No, this,
we
that,
have we
You're
have
talking about
reserves
rainy
are
day fund.
allocated for specific stuff.
Yeah, okay, you're talking
I'm
about
talking
rainy
about
day
a
fund.
surplus, like, if we have a hurricane, and we got $300,000 or $400,000 worth of landscaping damage that needs to be repaired.
Gotcha.
Where's that money come from?
Okay, right now, in the,
Surplus.
this was as of March, in the fixed asset reserves, we had $960,000.
But that's
Fixed asset.
Fixed assets.
Yeah, that's the
We
one we
also
contribute
have-
200,000 a year to.
Yes.
Right.
We also have.
More, actually.
More.
Yeah, we also have unassigned 3.9 million.
Okay.
That includes your 1.6 million.
That would
1.685,
include
yeah.
yours, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so
That's-
there's about
so there is money sitting there.
1.4 million, roughly,
Above, that's,
right? Taking out your 1.6.
Essentially to
that
cover
number.
the gateway overhead.
yeah,
Okay.
that's in
So we
excess
got,
of
we have
the,
over $1 million.
we have over $1 million.
$1 million.
Okay, good.
Should we earmark that as a surplus? We should. What's our total
It is
budget?
earmarked as a surplus.
Is it,
When you look at the balance sheet, yes,
okay,
yeah.
but it's not called surplus. It's called something else.
When you look at our fund balance, it's called different because it's fund accounting rather than regular accounting because it's a governmental entity. So they have their fund balance, which includes, fixed asset reserves, emergency reserves, which we don't have, any emergency reserves, and then unassigned reserves. So that is our surplus. What they're
Okay.
calling unassigned reserves is our surplus.
Right,
And that's
so-
the 3.9 million.
Okay, but it's really half of it is your money.
Well, I don't know
More
that.
or less.
What, I don't know how much of it is what. Here's the problem I have right now, is we have a bond fund that still exists, that we are currently in the process of depleting to zero.
Correct.
And when that goes to zero, then $985,000 will go into our general fund surplus. Well, I don't know that.
So you have another 985 in addition to the 1,000,006?
No, well, it's in there, part of it's in there, part of it isn't. I don't know how much has been there, too. The 1.6 is what I know of.
We have a lot of money.
Yeah, Pond started at the beginning of this year with 685 from last year we didn't spend.
Right.
685,000. Then the 985 came out of the bond fund.
Okay.
But I don't
That's
know
how you
where
get
that,
one.
but now she mentioned 3 million, and I don't know how much of the 985 is in there.
Is included in that.
So
And this
if
doesn't show
if it's
it-
all there, then I got 1.6. If it's not, then the 3 now becomes 4
Yeah.
million.
Okay. In any case, there's at least $1
That's what
million.
he said.
Yeah.
Party.
Okay. All right.
Party.
What, I don't see it on here anymore. What's our total budget? 1.2 million plus,
That doesn't.
wait,
that-
1.2 million plus your 500.
600,000.
600.
Yeah. Last year, for example, if you took the HOA agreement,
Go ahead.
which is what we're talking about here. Last year, the HOA agreement, Nancy, you have it as 1,185,500. I've got it as 1,214,000. I don't know what the difference is.
Okay. Let me see if I can find it here on the report.
But
from
anyway.
Severn Trent.
So the HOA agreement was 1,214,000, Ron.
Right.
The capital reserve program was another 557,000.
557. We
But
put
the-
557 into the capital reserve account, is what you're saying?
Right, well,
Or will
let's
be?
put it this way, we budgeted that way, Stephen we haven't actually
Moved the
transferred,
money.
we haven't moved the money.
So that might be some of that
we
$3
haven't-
million that you're talking about.
Right, we haven't moved them, right, that is some of that $3 million.
Okay.
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 But the budget, the total budget last year, even though the HOA portion was $1.2 million, the total budget came to $2.4 million. Because you add in the big spender over there at the end of the table, throwing money around.
After that meeting this morning, we're
Well, that's
cheap.
600,000.
Tinkle's spending 26 million, and you guys are beating me up for 500,000.
Yeah, I know.
Well, don't
I
forget,
I
our
don't wanna be at
budget,
that meeting.
what Pelican pays is not only what we're doing here, not only the ponds, but it's also the other things that, and the overhead, but it's also the legal,
Oh, the overhead, yeah.
yeah.
Engineering.
Tony,
the
Tetra
engineering
Tech.
Well,
fees. Some of,
that's what it is.
some
So-
of the engineering is specific, some of the legal is specific, it's not just overhead.
And some months, it's a big chunk of money.
Well,
Yes.
We get $700 bills
to
for
give you-
legal some
to give
months.
you-
and-
To give you an idea, last year, the quote operating expenses, this is the stuff that is not allocated to us, but charged directly to us,
Some of the engineering is
including
specific.
workers' compensation, engineering fees, attorney's fees, all that stuff,
And some
came to
months, it's a big
$69,000
chunk of money.
last
We
year.
get $700
In
bills.
the budget, or we budgeted 69,000 for that, but that's how much they budgeted.
And every month it comes out and you see how much you paid for,
Oh, yeah.
for
Yeah.
paper,
Yeah.
Sure.
for copies, for
Yeah,
everything.
so to get from that $1.2 million, Ron, to the $2.4 million, there's 600,000 in the capital reserve. There was another 500,000 in ponds, and the rest is that overhead.
And every
stuff.
month it comes out, you see.
And I'm looking at the,
Pretty soon you spend
statement of
money.
revenues from Severn Trent.
Yeah.
Our HOA agreement for this year was 1.185, 123. Our year-to-date budget
Yeah,
with them is 590,562, and this is through March, so this would be the halfway point. And our actual expenses at the halfway point were 546,000. So we were about 50,000 under budget through the halfway point.
so, yeah, it appears to me that, you know, I don't know how we put our hands on some of those reserves, but we ought to be able to expend it to.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we need to know.
We ought to be able to
what
take
it's
that
all,
whole 3 billion
And know
and
exactly
say
what
where
makes
it
it up.
came from. That'd be quite a
Absolutely.
task to do.
Well,
But
it's,
we ought to be
every
able to do
year
that.
we've had excess,
Yeah,
we've
I
had
know.
surplus.
That's what I'm saying.
So this is going back many years
I
that
know.
we've had surplus for it to add up to this amount.
I
And-
completely agree. That's how I got to the 685 figure.
Right.
I went back to 2010, budgeted expense, budgeted, and I chronologically, then I gave it to Stephen and said, do you agree? And he came back and gave me a note, said, yes, you have 685 unspent accumulated money.
Well, one thing we talked about a little bit last year when we addressed this money last year too, was did we wanna leave it unassigned or did we wanna put it into capital reserves? And we made the decision to leave it unassigned because it's
Yeah.
available then for anything we need.
Right, and it seems to me that if we find after the capital reserve study that we're behind in funding the capital reserve account, we could use some of that money to help fund that.
Catch up.
That's right, but I'm also wondering whether we couldn't use some of those funds, and this, I guess, something we'd have to find out from Stephen. Suppose we took this, as an example, it's a small one, but suppose we took this replacing all the lights with LEDs.
Hmm.
Could we just take that out of that reserve rather than
Out of the surplus.
out of the surplus, I mean?
And-
Well, we may have to go get CDD approval.
Right, and we talked about
For it.
that last year
Yeah.
too, because it
I
could have
think the
come out
answer's
of
probably-
capital funds. But we said, no, we had all this surplus money,
Right,
so why touch the capital account?
Right.
sure, sure.
So,
And
yeah.
and we did that.
And we did, we went and
We
asked
went
for
back to them and
permission.
said, we wanna use money for these couple of things, and I forget how much money, it's
Well,
30,
yeah,
40,000-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah, except the way we positioned that last year was, we had plenty of room in the budget,
Yes.
Yes.
in the current year's budget.
And it looks like we'll have 30 or 40.
The ERUs impacted us so favorably last year.
Yes,
that
that's
we-
right. Oh, yeah.
We
Oh,
could
yeah.
pull a lot of things ahead.
Well, and right now at the halfway point, we're almost $50,000 under budget.
Yeah. Part of
So-
that's because we don't have Cypress Grove expenses, right?
Right.
Right, and getting to that, you know, you're concerned that the budget this year,
ERUs
include
impacted us so
everything,
favorably.
might show a significant increase.
Yeah.
Well, we've got, again, I don't know exactly how much, in surplus.
Yeah.
You could allocate money from surplus to cover part of the budget.
I would be opposed to
shortfall.
that.
I don't think you could,
Why can't we establish a new fund called Hurricane Recovery?
Bingo.
We're gonna face
Emergency-
emergencies
You said
at
there was
some
something
point
called
along the way.
emergency
Yeah,
reserves?
When you look at the general fund balance sheet, because
Right.
the balance sheet that comes from Gateway has the general fund, Pelican, Stony Brook, et cetera. The general fund has a $700,000 emergency reserve. They're the only ones showing emergency reserve. None of the communities have one themselves.
So,
A suggestion I have is not at our next meeting, but one, at a future meeting, that we get Stephen Bloom to come into the meeting and talk about this issue, as to what kind of flexibility we have, what we would be able to do with those funds, or whether, you know, I can't believe they just sit there. I mean, there's cash.
Well, we've got them invested.
We've got
That's
them
why we
invested, we
invested.
got cash, but.
1.1%.
Savings
Exactly.
accounts mean nothing today.
Yeah,
Well, I think we're in the 1.1% range
yeah.
now.
I remember when it was 5 and 6%.
Oh,
Yeah, I can remember
I can
14.
remember, yeah, I was gonna say.
I bought a house one time
Yeah,
at
so
that.
did I. So I think that's an issue that we need to kind of put on the agenda for a future
Okay.
meeting.
And some of the rules, like if the CDD has emergency surplus.
Yes.
Can we get access to that in case of a hurricane or some other natural disaster? Can we touch that?
I would say the answer is probably yes, because that's what they did for Stony Brook back when Stony Brook was bankrupt. And they let Stony Brook borrow out of the emergency funds.
Well, I wanna borrow it.
But then they had to pay it
Give to
back.
us. Yeah, I don't want to
Oh,
give
no,
it
no, I
back.
don't think they, there's no such thing as give it to you, but they, it was a very favorable rate. It was
But,
like-
I mean, what I'm saying is, if it's a true emergency fund, you shouldn't have to pay it back.
We
So,
have a
you know,
reserve
But
fund of
what
some
is the
sort.
general
But it's not-
fund when
but
I
it's
look at
not
this
ours.
budget?
We didn't. pay
We didn't
into it.
contribute to it.
Well, but I'm trying to
Had
say,
we
we
contributed
have-
to it,
But don't we contribute to the general fund?
Not to that emergency fund, I don't.
Well.
Then we
the
should
gen-
create
the-
our own
the-
emergency
the
right.
gen-
I-
The general
I'm
fund.
with that.
Yeah,
The general fund.
Call it
is-
an emergency fund.
Whatever, yeah.
yeah.
You can use for hurricanes or something else.
I don't wanna create too many funds for the
But the
future.
gen,
I'm not
but the
gonna live that
general,
long.
the general fund is all of everybody else except us, basically. It's,
Okay.
it's the rest of Gateway.
Okay, because when they do the balance sheet, they break it out, a column for general,
Yep.
column for Pelican, one for Stony Brook,
Right.
one for Town Lakes, one for Lake Bank Restoration, and one for capital projects.
If you go down it, the only thing that we contribute to is whatever percent we're paying, say it's 10%. They'll show you on the monthly reports that go to the supervisors, you know, how much of it, and also in their budget.
Okay.
How much of it, which items we
Okay.
paid the 10% against.
Right.
So,
Okay,
like supervisors' fees, that would be
Yeah,
10%.
yeah. Well, it's part of the administrative services and the operational and administrative services as a whole list of stuff.
well, and the thing is, if we had set up, like she suggested, a reserve fund for hurricane, it's only gonna be on paper, because the money is still all sitting in all these bank
Bank
accounts.
accounts, sure.
And all this is
We-
doing
we-
is saying, well,
We got the cash.
we've assigned this much
Yeah.
cash for
But,
this.
but it would be good to know what kind of flexibility we have with regard to those funds.
Right. Those
Because,
unassigned funds.
right.
How much is
Because-
there?
Because at some point, we may wanna, if we could use some of those funds to dampen down the increases in annual, annual expenses, it would be awful good.
But I
Have
don't,
And I think
homeowners
Stephen
ever
asked me
receive a
last year if
refund?
he
Yeah,
wanted to
but-
do that.
If-
but I don't think
To
we're there
dampen
yet.
it down, but I think we always should be upfront with the residents. of
Oh,
what-
absolutely.
Of what it
Oh,
costs. No, but I mean.
I agree.
If we got, I wouldn't wanna be taking 200,000 out of there for the next 2 or 3 years.
No, I agree.
And then all of a
All of a
sudden,
sudden,
oh, well, we're really 600,000.
Oh, yeah.
But as we're increasing the base that we have to pay for, there's gonna be some significant increase in costs.
Yeah.
What do you mean increasing the base? I don't understand.
Well, the part of Pelican Preserve that the CDD responsible to pay, to support. You know, we got ponds, we got more
but we're-
irrigation, we got things that are gonna grow.
I hear you, but we're pretty much there. I mean, we got 9 more ponds after this, and we're done.
The cost,
Ponds of Matarita are a mess.
the asset base is increasing, that who's gonna pay for it is at best capped, if not going to go down, because the ERUs
Are gonna stay,
or stay or go down.
which means the individual bills go up
Yeah.
Correct,
if ERUs go down.
yeah.
So how do you offset some of that? Not all of it, and you have to be judicious about it, you know, but you need to know does it make sense to say, maybe this year we put 60,000 of that towards offsetting a
But if-
potential tax increase?
But if, when our surplus is gone,
Well, that's why you have to be judicious
then
about
whoever's
it.
left
Well-
gets a huge increase.
Well, you know,
But if you never spend
fortunately
it, it
for
just keeps growing every
2018,
year.
with Cypress Grove coming on, basically, there'll be a little bit more coming later. But we'll probably be capped at the assets we have to maintain.
Yeah.
And then from then on out, we are either adding to our capital reserves or
Well,
building a hurricane fund.
All the
or-
more
or
reason that we
whatever
should
else.
look at the.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, roughly
Absolutely.
speaking, if our budget is $2.5 million, we should always have 250,000 in surplus, 10%,
Minimum.
always. Always, we should never go below that number. Pick another number, 300,000, boom. And if you stay with that, the rest of it, you can start thinking about, okay, taxes go up, maybe they don't go up quite as much. We'll
We've had a
allocate
lot
some
of
that.
multi-year projects that are now coming to an end on ponds. I mean, this latest
Oh, yeah.
aeration bid will pretty much do it. We'll have another 17 ponds to do, but they're already aerated. We're just upgrading. So this next 300,000 we spend, whatever the bid comes in a couple weeks, that should pretty much end it for aeration.
And then, but you still have the.
But then we don't want to
gutter-
do the downspouts, that's right.
Right.
Now, that is going to be a multi-year, that's a big one, because of
So now
Cypress
we
Grove.
may
Old Pelican will be
allocate-
done this year.
Some of
allocate
Cypress
some of
Grove,
this
not all.
unallocated dollars to support that effort.
Yes,
As
absolutely.
long as we keep a reasonable surplus,
Yep.
Yep.
that
Okay.
makes sense.
Okay. Well, as I say, I think we need to get Stephen in so we can
Yes.
discuss with him
Specifically.
specifically, what are the rules, what can we do with those funds?
And I don't think we're gonna be able to do it, get his attention for
No,
this
until
budget.
I
after
agree.
the budget.
I think after the budget.
September,
cycle-
October.
After the budget cycle,
Yep.
we'll do that.
And then it's gonna be year end that he's gonna.
I don't know how he gets done everything he gets done. He's amazing, he
Yeah,
really
yeah,
is.
yeah. Guy must work 23 hours a day. Okay, so any more discussion on this? So Nancy, what we really need to do is cycle back on Thursday with as much information as you're able to get at that point,
Yeah,
and then we'll see where we stand
I'll plug in numbers at 40% for Cypress Grove for
Yep.
for
for
some
some
of
of
them.
that stuff.
Um, And maybe even the streetlights, plug that in at 40% right now
Yeah.
for Cypress Grove.
Yeah.
Short of going around and coning streetlights. And I think it's gonna rain from now till Thursday.
Yeah, right.
It is.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, yeah, you're right about that.
So the other thing on your list, hopefully, is to get Stephen to give us a drop dead date.
Date,
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him at the same time, if we can use some of the surplus to keep our budget increase from being
Praise the Lord.
too high, just to get a little input from him on that right now. But I'm pretty sure last year he told me that that was our decision, if we wanted to keep our budget from going up, we could use some of the surplus, and we didn't have to last year.
But we were way under budget too.
Well, and we would have had to use it if they hadn't increased the
The
ERUs.
ERUs.
That's the only thing that
Yeah,
saved us
well,
last year.
but as Bob said, I don't think we wanna.
Yeah, I wouldn't-
don't wanna go
wanna use-
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, we
We
want
don't
people to
wanna-
know, and we've been telling them, the costs are gonna go up.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And I'll ask him if he knows what the ERUs are gonna be for next year too.
Yeah, I
just
doubt it
while I'm
at this
at it.
point, he didn't until quite late.
Yeah, Ed
the
Tinkle
last
told me
time.
today he's expecting the pitchforks and torches at their next
There,
meeting.
which is Thursday also.
Because of the,
The ponds.
Well, yes.
the 26
Their
million.
meeting is, their meeting is Thursday, the same day as our meeting.
Are they doing a special assessment over here for ponds or
Oh,
something?
yes, oh,
What
yes.
they're doing is floating a bond.
They're-
Yes.
yeah.
So they're gonna spread the cost out 20
They're
years.
really borrowing.
And that's a sweet way of saying you're spending $20 million on your bond, but we're gonna give you 20 years to pay it.
Right, actually,
That-
they're borrowing money from the state.
State
fund.
of Florida.
Florida fund.
But the people here aren't happy.
No, a lot of them are, yeah.
Well, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't even include aeration or downspouts or any of those other things.
Okay, any more questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
So,
I'll second.
moved and seconded, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Bye, John.
Everybody,
See you, John.
John, will you be joining us on Thursday?
Yes, on Thursday I will call in,
Okay,
but I may be about a half hour late. I'll
Okay.
try to get here on time, but I got some issues in the morning.
okay. Is everybody else gonna be here on Thursday, by the way? Anybody not gonna be here? Good, all right, excellent. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, John.
Bill, I got a note from Lenore.
Yes. Ah, how nice of them, since we're paying for it.
That's a lot of work.
But the guy,
Huh?
I had to send another note up the chain
Yeah.
to get him to respond. He told me he was gonna
You know,
answer.
the problem is Jason really doesn't.
They haven't
have a good
figured out how
understanding
to
of
bill
this.
us yet. I said,
Yeah.
that's not a problem.
Yeah.
I'm constantly getting
You would imagine that they would take that.
requests for payments of bills that missed in a month.
That's exactly.
It won't cost them any.
It's like, I'm trying to give you $20, you saying, no, damn it, I want you
April's
dead.
getting kind of upset with him because, you know,
I absolutely amazed
once
at
she
that.
So is
inserted
that-
herself in his payment process,
Why not
she
take
wants to know
it?
why he was sending in these little bitty bills one at a
That
time.
last
you know.
meeting with
But
Brian Brewer over here, when
he just
had the
misses
special
things.
meeting, I wasn't
And
ready to
my first thought was Sarah didn't, but then I realized that last December I got things that were for the whole past year were things they missed, which went back into Sarah's time doing this too.
And
So
they're the ones now that. wanted
Anyway, the
all
guy
this
called
money
and
up
sent me an
front to be
email.
able to
Hey,
do
that's
all of
great.
these.
That's great.
Why do you have to struggle so much?
I don't know.
As I
You
told
know,
the
I
first
think
guy, it's a win-win, everybody.
we're probably gonna switch management companies, because we just stood up, so we still have Castle Group. But it's so frustrating dealing with Castle
Castle,
Group.
is it?
Yeah, and the guy that we have for our neighborhood, I could just strangle him sometimes. Oh, yeah. He sent out requests for landscapers for us. There was one I specifically wanted, plus a Mirrorscape. Where he came up with the other three, I don't know. One of them, I get all the references, they do nothing but RV parks, and he sent them a request. You know,
So they probably jumped right on it and said, whoa, let's
oh,
get in
and
there.
their bid was way, way lower than
Yeah.
everybody else's, and they said, well, we'll just toss that one right out.
Yeah.
And the other one does like Miramar, so theirs was way, way up there, and then the fifth one didn't even reply, so. I don't know where he got the names, you know, why,
So, yeah, you need to switch management company, that's all.
yeah.
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 Well, we've got our work group formed for
Yeah,
that now too.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah.
Because there's some good ones around. We like ours.
Who do you have?
So for Cornerstone.
Cornerstone?
Now, they're pretty small, but you're effectively dealing with the principal.
Who's Cornerstone? Who is it?
Her name is Sherry,
Somebody.
Yeah, but anyway, they're small, they do us, they do Aviana. I'm trying to think of their name, but yeah, they just picked up one other group in here. But
I think they're gonna talk about this at Thursday's president's meeting.
Yeah.
Because Trudy said they were having a meeting Friday.
Yes.
About management companies.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So hopefully she's gonna give us some
Yeah.
information, but I talked to one that was a reference for one of the landscapers we were looking at. And just after being on the phone with her, I thought, I wanna get a quote for them when we switch. She was so on top of everything in her community and
Yeah.
just so knowledgeable, and I thought,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep
And,
this
and,
name in
and
mind.
the other thing we have is, as part of our contract, she has a landscape person who does the follow-up on the landscaping, so that.
Well, this
Check
woman
it.
told me she walks the neighborhood every month with the landscaper,
Oh, yeah.
the woman I was talking to.
Oh, yeah, well, this woman does even more. I mean, she's a special landscaping person.
Okay.
She's out there all the time checking on the landscapers. If you have any problems, we go to Barbara, and Barbara takes care of it.
Well, I think
And,
we've selected our new landscaping company. I
Have you?
haven't voted on it yet, but, it's a company called Greenscapes.
Oh, yeah.
And, I met with one community down in Estero that's had him for 10 years.
Yeah.
And their management company told me it's one of 2 companies she's never had a complaint from the residents
That's
on.
interesting, because we had greenscapes.
We had
And we
greenscapes
dumped them.
at the very beginning for the community, and
And-
everybody dumped them.
Yeah.
Well, and then, this is the Greenscapes down in Naples. This is a company from Naples.
I don't know where,
I don't know where, yeah,
I don't know where they were
assume-
from, but they were called greenscapes.
Greenscapes.
Okay, because they do another community, a friend of mine just moved here from, they've done it for 14 years, and their community is absolutely gorgeous. We went to one at Copperleaf in Estero that they
Yeah.
do. They do Lighthouse Bay there, and we went to one that, I can't even remember the name of it, but it was down in Estero too. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. You know, a big factor in all of these things is, for instance, with your management company, is who is your property guy or person.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a critical issue,
Yeah.
because they can give you a, you know, somebody who's not very good, or they can give you somebody who happens to be
Yeah.
on top of it.
And it seems
the
like
same thing
everybody
is-
here is going to shoe, which
We dumped shoe.
we had shoe at Viadana,
Yeah,
and we didn't have any problems with him. He got everything done, but Dick Rourke he's not very
Arrogant?
personable.
Arrogant, maybe.
Yes.
Mhm.
But he did get everything done.
Done.
That was, I mean,
yeah.
some of the residents would actually say to me, because I was on the board down there, well, he wasn't very pleasant to deal with, but he took care of my issue.
Mhm.
You know, and it's like, well,
Well, see,
put away this.
when I was president, Shu and Dick Rourke were there, and then when I turned the reins over, that's when they went with somebody else, because the guy who took over for me just,
Couldn't deal with
he
Dick.
he just had a real issue, so.
Yeah.
um,
So, yeah, we figure we'll finish the landscaping first, but we formed our committee
Yeah.
to start, our work group, excuse me, can't have committees. We formed our work group, so they're getting together their list of questions and stuff that they want.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we went and looked at landscape in the rain yesterday. And we had a walk around with Javier in the morning before we left.
Uh-huh.
And it's so frustrating because, you know, he knows what he's talking about, but he can't get his guys to do the work,
You can't,
you
yeah.
know?
Well,
got-
you know, our reaction when I was in Aviano and we got rid of Ameriscape was that just Javier was just spread so thin that you couldn't get him to react.
Well, and since we've got, Ameriscapes for the main contract, that's the big bucks, and that's where they're gonna be.
Exactly, and that's where they
Pay
put their work.
attention.
Yeah, that's what they pay most attention to, but they did hire somebody now who assists Javier.
Okay.
So he's supposed to be doing.
Yes,
all
that's
these-
right. Javier's supposed to be focusing on the main contract, as I understand, and the other guy's supposed to help him with the rest of the stuff, is
Well,
that it?
you know, and like, when we walked around, we got patches of grass where there's
Yeah.
just brown. And finally he said, well, I think it's chinch bugs. Well, if,
Thank you, Diane.
you know, we're supposedly paying you to put insecticides down. These have been here a long time, because you could see, I mean, they made paths through the grass. What have you been doing that you're just noticing these now, and we've been complaining about them
Yeah.
for months, you know?
Yeah.
So they'll be gone.
Diane, everybody is gonna be here on Thursday.
Everybody?
And John will call in, but he may be a little late,
Okay.
okay?
The same number that we did today?
Well,
or
I
no?
assume he'll call into your number and then you can find
Okay.
out at
All right.
that point. Yeah.
Diane, can we do the same thing with the spreadsheet?
Sure.
That,
I'll
I
just-
found that very
Oh,
helpful.
yes, that
I'll
was
just
very
leave
good.
it on here and,
Yeah,
Well, I gotta do
She's
a
gotta
new
do
oh, you
one.
got it, okay.
Well, I'll
reload
update it
another-
and I'll send it to you, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make all the changes we did today.
I'm not gonna go to the church, because we have a public hearing, I'm not gonna.
I know you do, yeah, but you're not going to the public
No,
hearing?
I'm gonna be here.
Okay,
That's
good.
good, because I
That's good.
think they're gonna lynch people.
That's right.
Staying away.
You're smart to stay
What's
away.
this one about there?
That's about
This is
their
about the
pond.
bond,
What's
the
the one
ponds.
that we've got with the extension that they've got the little sign up when you come into Pelican Preserve? You looked at it, you know, when they put those signs up, it looks like a big Z, that there's gonna be a public hearing on something?
That could be on the
No.
interchange?
No, it says that they're asking for an additional 1 year and 57 days to complete construction.
Oh, okay. The DRI